All right. Hopefully everybody can hear me now. And once again, welcome to Passion Meets Purpose. I'm excited to be here. A number of you are just joining us this morning. We've got people that are tuning in both online here as well as through the conference line. I want to welcome everybody to today's event. For those of you that don't know me, I want to start off by just giving you a little bit of an introduction. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be diving into what we're going to be talking about today. So once again, welcome. First of all, I encourage everybody to grab a pen and paper, or even more importantly, a success journal if you have one. You know, I started this first page off right here with a journal. And the reason why is because about 10 years ago, I had a mentor who said to me, I was sitting in the front row at an event and I was taking notes, and I had, a little notepad that the hotel lobby had provided. And I was, feverishly trying to capture the words that he was sharing because they were so awesome. And I wanted to remember them. And you should have seen it. I mean, I had papers that were kind of all over the place. And he came up to me afterwards and he says, Travis, one of the things that I've done that has been instrumental in my success is I went out and I bought a success journal. And not just any success journal, but I actually spent a little bit of money on it. You can go to Books Dalton or somewhere and find something that reflects your character, your personality, and who you are. And he said, but what I did with that journal is I started to have one journal every single year. And inside that journal, I would keep things like my goals. I would keep things like my vision. I would keep things like my plan of action. I would keep things every time that I would go to an event, or whether it was online or it was in person. I would take notes, but I would take notes as if I were going to have to reteach that information. And he said, and over time, I started to build up this library, one year after another of journals. And what I realized was that I had sitting on my shelf a fantastic legacy to be able to pass on to my children, because everything that I had learned along my success journal, things that I wanted to share that were relative to, our business, the good and the bad and the lessons and the quotes and all of the things were there. And after 10 years, what I can tell you is that I have these journals that I can draw on at any time. And you could pick just about any topic that you could think of. It doesn't matter what it would be. And I'll tell you that I could probably find a lesson or a quote or something in these journals. And it really has been such a tremendous resource for me. And so if you don't have a journal, that's one thing that I would recommend that you do for 2017. And I think that it'll make all the difference in the world. And my hope and wish for you is that you'll be able to take the information that we share with you today, and you'll pass on or you'll transfer that information over to your success journal. So with that, a little bit of my backgrounds. For those of you that don't know me, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always believed in the power of residual income. Summer, my wife and I have been married for 18 years. We have 6 children. My oldest turns 17 tomorrow. My youngest is 6 months old. And I share that first because it's what I'm most proud of. I love my family. It's my why. It's the reason why I do what I do. And they give me true meaning and purpose in life. And I, from a very young age, I've always had that entrepreneur mindset. My Uncle Randy's on the presentation today, and I know that he would share that with you. From a young age, I've always kind of been just a salesperson and loved to talk to people. I remember in junior high, my dad has always been, it's kind of like that, rich dad, poor dad scenario, from the standpoint that my dad has always worked for somebody else. He's always worked for corporate America, and I respect him tremendously. He's one of my heroes, and he's done quite well for himself. I don't want you to think that he's not done well financially, but he's always built somebody else's future. And he's always worked for somebody else. He's always been, an executive there. And I've always been the guy that's behind the scenes going, Dad, why don't you start your own business? You go and do these things for these other people. And you're such a brilliant, executive. Why don't you start your own thing? And I remember even as a junior in high school, he would come home from work and he would find franchise circulars that were laid out on the counter. I remember ordering a GNC. Remember when GNC health stores were becoming extremely popular? I had a GNC franchise circular sitting out on the counter, and I said, Dad, this is going to be really big. You should invest in one of these. And then he'd come home another week, and there'd be a Cold Stone Creamery franchise packet sitting on the counter. Dad, we should buy a Cold Stone free creamery franchise. And at the time, I didn't really comprehend that some of these franchises probably cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was just interested in business. And, even right out of high school, I started, and this is a true story. I went to college, Mesa Community College, and, college just wasn't my thing. I actually went for the first day. I sat down in class, and I have to tell you that it just felt all wrong for me. I love education. I'm a big believer in ongoing education, growing yourself and what have you. But for me, sitting in a classroom was always a challenge, even in high school. And so there I was sitting there for the morning of my first day in college, and it felt like just a horrible pair of shoes. It just didn't fit for me. I wanted to own a business. I wanted to go out there and live and do it. And I learned through hands-on, right? I'm a very visual person. And so sitting in a classroom for me, I just struggled. And so, at about 11 o'clock in the morning that morning in between classes, I left and I never went back. My dad wasn't very happy because he actually paid for that first semester in college, but I just couldn't do it. And, shortly after that, I walked into a Circle K. And Circle K, for those of you that don't know, is just kind of like a quick stop. It's a little gas station where you can pick up some supplies and gas and, a little quick stop. So I walked in and I looked at the concrete, and the concrete was filthy outside. And I thought to myself, I wonder who cleans this. And so I asked the person, and he said, we spray it down with a hose every night. And I says, well, gosh, it's not really getting it very clean. Now, right out of high school going into college, you're a prime candidate for bankers to give you credit cards. They love to give young 18, 19, 20-year-olds, credit limits to be able to go out and do what you want to do with. And so, I got a credit card, and I went to the store and to the Home Depot, and I bought a pressure washer, a 3,000 PSI pressure washer. I still remember it today. Little gas-powered pressure washer, and I bought this little attachment, this little jet wash that would spin and clean the concrete. And I went back there that night, and I asked them that next day, and asked if they'd let me clean the concrete that night, and they agreed. And so I did it for free, and I spent all night, and while I was there, I taught myself how to use this pressure washer. There's these little tips on this pressure washer that some of them spray a little harder than others. And I learned the hard way that if you have the really sharp tips, you can actually carve your name in the concrete. So I did learn how to use these things very quickly, but I spent all night scrubbing this concrete. And the next morning, it looked spotless. I got done at about 7 o'clock, just as about the manager and the district manager happened to be arriving. And he came out and he says, son, this looks fantastic. Are you the one that did all this? I says, I am. And he says, well, could you do this for about 8 more stores? And I says, you bet I could. And so that's where I got my start. Within a year, I had 64 Circle Ks. I had most of the Village Inn restaurants. And, there's some restaurants out this way in the West called Fuddruckers. And we had all of those, as well as a number of corporate, buildings. And had multiple trucks out on the road. And here I was at 20 years old. And here's the funny thing, 2021, and my friends kind of laughed at me. They said, Travis, how are you, you're not going to go to college. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. And what are you going to do, clean concrete the rest of your life? I can still hear my friends saying that to me. And I just kind of laughed. And I said, no, but what I am going to do is I'd love to offer you guys a job, and I'm going to have you come clean the concrete for me, and I'm going to put you through college. And I did just that, and then they put me into my first house. And I've never looked back ever since then. We built that business up. We sold it. I owned a health club chain for quite some time, sold that business, got involved in the lead generation business around 2000, 2001 when the mortgage industry was just booming. And we started a call floor, and we were producing high-quality leads for the mortgage industry. And about 2005, life was good. We had about 50 employees, and things were going extremely well for my family. We had 3 children, moved to Utah, and then I was driving to work one day, and middle of the week, I had a friend of mine who was a neighbor who was a very successful business owner, and his name was Steve. And Steve was cutting the grass on Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'll never forget, he had his little boy sitting on his lap. And it was about 10, 11 o'clock. Now, for me, I was driving to work, and I was really stressed. I had a ton of overhead, ton of employees. For those of you that have ever owned your own business before, you'll know that owning your own business sometimes isn't all that it's cracked up to be, especially as you start to take on employees and overhead and all of those things. And so I spent quite a bit of my time, my most valuable commodity, at work. And so there I was, stressed out, spending most of my time at work, missing my children. And I see Steve cutting the grass. And so I pull up and kind of jokingly say, hey, Steve, what do you do that allows you to be able to stay at home and cut the grass at 10 o'clock in the morning. And he kind of laughed and he says, Travis, I just sold my business. And as a matter of fact, I got involved in this home-based business and it's taken off for me. And I actually retired from my business. And now this is what I do full time. It's network marketing. And I said, network what? He says, it's network marketing. And I kind of laughed and I thought, what is that? Is that like Amway or Melaleuca? And, I kind of dismissed it and went off to work. But that conversation sparked up an interest that eventually led to me getting involved with Steve in that first business in October of 2005. And I was fortunate enough to have some very good mentors. One of the first things that I've learned about success is a lot of people say that there are no shortcuts to success. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you that there absolutely are shortcuts to success. And that is learning from people that have the kind of success that you want to have. And you guys have figured that out. That's why you're here. You guys understand the importance of being able to learn from true mentors or people that have been there, that have done that. And so for me, I was fortunate enough to have three gentlemen who were mentors in that first company. And those three gentlemen were Eric Worre, Randy Gage, and Randy Schrader. Now, for those of you that have been around the network marketing industry, you might recognize those names. Those are some of the biggest names out there today. And at the time, these three individuals hadn't really become who they are today. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to have direct access to them and be able to spend time with them intimately. And they taught me this industry. And over the course of the next couple of years, my wife and I started to build a flourishing business. And here's the thing. What happened is we started to create this residual income. And I was just fascinated with it. We still made more money at our traditional business, but the idea that I didn't have to go to work and that a check would show up every single month was just fascinating. I mean, I was more interested in the $75 residual income monthly check that I was getting than the money I was making in my business, because in my business, I was sacrificing the most valuable commodity that I had, which was my time. So I started to, play around with this thing, and we built it up to a little side business. I kind of joke now and tell people that it was my wife's shoe business, or shoe money, right? She was able to go out and buy the shoes she wanted. We were able to travel and do some fun things with that money. By the way, I want to make sure, can everybody hear me okay? Just give me a little yes, or make sure that we've got a little, I want to make I see Suzanne. Yes, okay, good. Thank you, Suzanne. So, we had this little side income coming in. It was nothing significant, but it was, it was almost a few $1,000s a month. But here's what happened. In 2007, you guys might recall that somebody started talking about subprime loans not performing well on Wall Street. And when that happened, everything totally turned upside down, you guys, because all of a sudden for me, what happened was all of my accounts just started floundering one by one by one. And pretty soon we lost everything. It was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. And, maybe some of you are going through some financial challenges right now. I'm sure that many of you, give me a little why, or raise your hand, or if you've ever experienced what it feels like to lay awake at night and feel the weight of the world on your shoulders. Just how am I going to pay my electric bill? How am I going to pay my gas bill? If you've ever experienced that before, give me a little why, give me a little yes, just so I know you guys are awake and out there this morning. It's not a good feeling. And, I remember, thank you, Victoria. I remember distinctly just laying there thinking, how are we going to do this? We just lost our income. We lost our business. And so what ended up happening was, things went from bad to worse. I remember walking out of a grocery store with my daughter in my arms and watching my car get towed away from the parking lot because my car was repossessed. We were hiding the other vehicle that we had literally in the garage of my neighbor's house because we didn't want to lose it. And we had a code at our house that was, it makes me cringe to even think about this today, but I had 3 young children, and we had a code that when somebody came to the door, everybody would freeze and be quiet because we didn't want the debt. It gives me chills even telling you guys this story because we didn't want the debt collectors to know that we were home. That's where we were. And so the only thing that we had coming in was this maybe $300 to $500 a week that was coming in from this little side business that we hadn't paid much attention to. And that was just enough to put food on the table. But, we'd have our electric shut off and then the gas would get shut off. And it was just a really difficult time. Shortly after that, I broke my knee. So it was just one of those years where the clouds were there and it just kept raining and raining. But here's the moral of the story. We decided to go head first into the network marketing space because that's all we had. My wife came home from working out in the morning, and I'll never forget what she said. She said, "Hey, there's this thing called the Facebook that I think that we should get on. It might be a way for you to connect with other people, even if you can't go out and do presentations." And I says, "Okay, well, I'll check it out." And I got on Facebook. And you know what? The rest is history. Over the course of the next year, we were able to pick up very early on onto the principle that social media is about just relationships. It's about adding value. It's about establishing trust. It's about developing friendships. And the more that we would add value, the more we would create a pull marketing environment rather than a push marketing environment. And what I saw very early on, and I still see today on social media, is a lot of people were pushing information out there. And typically when you push, what happens? If somebody came up and started pushing you, what would happen? You'd naturally resist, right? And so that's what happens. And so we started teaching entrepreneurship. We started teaching people, the foundational principles to be successful, daily disciplines, winning habits, how to utilize social media as a tool to build your business. And we grew an organization with 50,000 people in it around the world over the course of the next few years. And it put us into a position where we were able to declare our financial freedom day. We were able to do the things that we wanted to do rather than the things that we had to do. We traveled the world. I found myself in places like Brazil and Rio de Janeiro and Peru and, Manila, Philippines. I got mugged in Malaysia once. Just interesting places around the world and interesting experiences. And I was able to take our family with me. And I can tell you that I just remember at one point sitting in Peru, Lima, Peru, just looking up and looking around at the hotel going, I cannot believe that this has allowed me, this industry or this social media, this networking allowed me to be able to have the success that we wanted to have. And a big part of that was having a very clear vision of where I wanted to go and what I wanted most in life. And that was to be able to live life on my own terms, to be able to have the time freedom, to be able to enjoy my family, to be able to, I've always had a challenge with somebody else buying my efforts wholesale and going out and selling those efforts retail and then making money off of me so that I could build their future. It just doesn't compute for me. So, that's where I'm coming from. And I put this event together today because I have a lot of clients, and some of our clients are on here today, coaching clients, and a lot of friends that were reaching out saying, Travis, what do you do at the new year? What does your goal setting process look like? And what are some things that we can do to make sure or ensure that 2017 truly is the best year ever? Because let's face it, at the beginning of the year, we all get excited. We all get motivated. It's a great reminder of the things that we should be doing. But the truth is that should has never been motivation for anybody, right? I want you to think about this. When you were younger and your mom said, you should eat your vegetables, or you should go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, or you should, make sure that you're getting A's in school. Was that motivation for you when somebody's telling you you should do something or you could do something? It's not for me. And so the reality is that when you have, oh, okay, sorry. I'm getting a little notice over here. So you get, when you have somebody that's telling you you should do something, even if it's yourself, that's not necessarily the right type of motivation. You got to dig deeper. You got to get into the why. What makes you cry? You've got to understand really the purpose behind and the meaning behind what it is that you want, where it is that you want to go. You've got to have crystal clear clarity on that. And then you've got to have a strategy in place to be able to accomplish those goals. And then we've got to break down and we've got to identify what are those limiting or barriers to success that would allow us to be successful. For most people, I'll tell you what it is. It's limiting beliefs. It's limiting beliefs. Most people don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their dreams. They don't even know how to dream because they've accepted, that having maxed out credit cards and broken dreams is the norm. And I'm here to tell you guys, it is not. It is not. We were all created to be able to live life in abundance, to be able to enjoy life on our own terms. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to be diving into goal setting. We're going to be diving into how to discover your purpose. We're going to be diving into how to attack those limiting beliefs. We're going to be talking about vision. We're going to be talking about how to get motivated when you don't feel like being motivated, all of those things. So first of all, today, what I want to start with is I want to start with a little exercise, and I've asked a couple of volunteers to help me, okay? Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pay attention to the process, not the person. I want everybody to pay attention to the process, not the person. I want all three of my volunteers, and by the way, if you're one of my volunteers, I want you to unmute for just a moment for me, and say hello to everybody. So the first volunteer that we have is Miss Connie. Connie, say hi to everybody. You got to unmute your mic. I'll send you an unmute request. Suzanne, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Suzanne, are you getting fired up? Are you awake yet? Are you feeling me yet?
Yes, I have my first cup of coffee, so I'm good. So good morning, everyone.
That little intro talk was timed to just get you awake a little bit and get the blood flowing a little bit. So hopefully,
Yeah, I noticed that you have your story down, Pat. I really like that.
well, that's a big, we'll talk about that. That's important to have your story down. So that's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Suzanne. Suzanne, say hello to everybody. Tell everybody where you're coming in from today.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm from Tsawwassen, BC, Canada. Looking forward to this course. Very open-minded towards it, and yeah, learning to. It's true too because we always say, "What's my passion?" So, good course to be on.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. All right, where are my other volunteers? Who else is out there? Do we have Miss Connie? Are you able to unmute yet? See if I can get her to unmute. Connie, are you out there? Bless you, by the way, whoever that was. I think that was Jonah. Jonah, if it's okay, I'm going to mute your mic out unless we need you, okay? All right, there we go. So Connie may be having a little bit of trouble. Let's see here. Unmute request sent. Connie, just go ahead and see if you can unmute your microphone. Who else is out there? Do we have Rhonda out there? I think Rhonda is going to be one of our volunteers if she's still out there. Rhonda, you here? I'm losing my volunteers this morning. I need 3 volunteers. Doesn't necessarily matter who they are as long as they can unmute their microphone. So we've got 1 so far, Suzanne. Who else is out there? There you are, Rhonda.
Travis, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You're good to go. Is that Rhonda?
No, Travis, it's Ann.
Oh, Ann.
I just see that it says Connie's offline here.
Connie went offline. Okay, so she's getting back online. So Ann, are you going to be one of our volunteers?
Well, I'm not prepared for this, but if you want me to be one, why not?
You don't have to be prepared. I'm just going to take you through an experience with me this morning. So thank you so much for volunteering. You didn't know you were volunteering when you unmuted your mic, did you?
Oh, no, because I don't know where to write something.
Okay, you don't follow along with me. That's okay. So I have Suzanne,
okay.
and who else is out there this morning? I need one more volunteer. We lost Connie, so let's see who else do we have. Victoria, are you out there this morning?
I am.
Are you able to volunteer? We can hear you okay. Are you able to play along with me this morning?
Yes, I will.
All right.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. All right. So let me write this down. So let me bring the board in here so you guys can see me. Now, here is what we are going to do, okay? I want the 3 of you to think of 3 things that you want in your lifetime. Anything that it can be anything that you want to do, to bless anybody that you want to bless, to invest anything that you want to invest, to look after your family, to be able to give permission to do whatever you want. And what we're going to do today is we're going to measure your vision. Now, the only restriction, here's the only restriction, is that whatever you put on it. That's the only restriction. The only condition, this is the only one, is that it must be materialistic. I don't want any of you saying, oh, I just want to be a nice person. I want people to remember me as being a nice person. That's all great. But, here's the thing. The reality is Al Capone's mom probably thought that he was a really nice person too, right? That's not what we're going after here. It's got to be materialistic. What we're going to do here is you're able to transfer this process to the spiritual, to the physical, to the mental, all of those things. Now, I'm only going to give you guys, all 3 of my volunteers, about 60 seconds to pull that together. And the reason why is because you've had a lifetime to think about this, right? You've had a lifetime to put this together. And everybody that's at home, here's what I want you to do. I want everybody else watching I want you to write this down. And none of this mental stuff, right? If it's worth remembering, that it's worth writing down. So, I don't want you to be able to just adjust it to wherever it fits or wherever the circumstances fit. I want you to actually follow along as if you are the one that's really on the hot seat here, and I want you to write it down. And we're going to go through this process, and you are going to see something that you have never seen before. Okay. Now, first person, Mrs. Victoria, you're in the hot seat. What are the 3 things that you want? And again, it's got to be materialistic. 3 things that you want most. Tell me what you want.
Oh God. 3 things.
3 things that you want.
Financial freedom.
Okay, so you want money. Okay. What else?
Become a spiritual person. I know you mentioned materialistic. Okay. Oh God.
Okay, so you want money, you want spirituality? Is spirituality really materialistic, Victoria?
Oh, the thing is, I think more of that personal growth level that sometimes you don't feel you're good enough.
Okay, so personal development for what? To feel good about yourself so that you can do what?
I can contribute.
Okay, so you
to
and contribute, but again, these things materialistic?
Right.
3 things that you want that's materialistic. Now, I want everybody to just kind of pay attention to what goes on here, and I'm not picking on Victoria because all of us are doing the same thing right now. The reality is that a lot of us have not really gotten specific about what it is that we want. We have a general idea, right? We want to have more peace of mind, but here's the reality. How do you hit that target? What does that really mean? So again, Victoria, just 3 more things really quickly that you want. Physical things that you want. Money, what's another one?
So are we looking at 2017 alone or looking at long term?
In life.
In life, okay.
You can have anything that you want, Victoria, anything that you want. You can have a jet airplane. You can have an island. Doesn't matter. What are 2 other things that you want?
Travel the world with my family.
Travel?
Yes.
Okay. And what else?
I like to be a speaker.
Okay, that's not a materialistic though.
Right. Okay.
What you want to be a speaker because what? What does that do for you? Gives you fulfillment, but what are some other things that you want? What else? Now, I want everybody to pay attention to what's going on here, and I want you to go through the process in your mind, right? Because these are things you very easily be able to come up with, but it's hard, right? Now, keep in mind, they're under pressure. The people that we're calling on are under pressure, but keep in mind that this is something that we all have not taken the time to really clearly define what we want. So you can have 3 things, anything that you want. You can contribute to your family, anything that you want for the rest of your life. What's the 3rd thing that you want? Real estate? What else would you want?
Oh goodness. Anything, right?
Anything. Now, folks, I want you to think about this for a moment. My Bible says that people without vision will perish, right? Mm-hmm. And we've been taught that until it's coming out of our ears. And yet, when we really get true to ourselves about what we really want, it's a hard thing to come up with. I mean, right, Victoria? It's not an easy thing. So real quickly, throw more at me. What's one more thing that you would want?
I'll be a top 20 income owner for my company.
Okay, so you want a business. We're going to break it down to very simple things. You want a successful business. All right, thank you, Victoria. Suzanne, you're on the hot seat. What are the 3 things that you want most? Have anything that you want?
Oh, don't you love this stuff? First thing in the morning, to financially pay off my family's homes.
You want money? Great.
Obviously to be successful in my business, but that's not really materialistic, but whatever. To build a larger home.
So you want
and have over $2 million in my savings account.
Okay, so far what I've heard is money, and you want a business, a successful business. What's the 3rd thing that you want? You can have anything that you want.
Yeah, see, I'm not clear on that. I thought we wanted materialistic things. So spirituality and strong belief. So I would like to be fearless. No, whatever the word is.
Got to be materialistic. It's got to be. Yeah, exactly. Now, keep in mind, this process today, guys, I want you to understand it applies to spiritual, it applies to all areas of your life. But just for the purposes of this exercise, it's got to be materialistic.
So like freedom is not materialistic.
No. You got money.
So I guess it all comes down to money.
Okay. Money's in the business. That's the key thing. All right. Thank you, Suzanne. And 3 things. Materialistic. Have anything that you want. Do whatever you want to do. Go wherever you want to do. Help your family however you want to help them. What do you want? 3 things.
Well, I must be very materialistic because it took me like 10 seconds to write this down. I want a new home or a new condo. I want a car.
Okay.
And I want to be able to go to Europe and travel around Europe.
Car, Europe. All right, and a home.
And a new house or car, or a new house, which is really expensive here. New house or condo.
Okay. Now, is it fair to say that what gets you all of those things?
Money.
Okay, so I'm going to put that down as well. Because money will get you all of those things, right?
Yeah.
Now, first of all, I want everybody to just think about what we've done so far. Okay, we've got them to dream. It's very simple, and you'd think that it would be very easy, wouldn't you? Now, if we were to put Pandora's box in front of somebody and say you could have whatever you want, you think that it would be easy, but it's not. Now, it was for Anne. Anne was pretty clear on what she wanted, but it's not. And let me tell you, what has taken place here, I want you to understand, happens all over the world. And it bothers me because without purpose, without clarity, it's very difficult to be able to achieve the things that we truly want. Now, these are all wonderful people that I've called on today. But here's the thing. I lied to you guys, okay? I'm only going to give you one thing. Out of everything that you've talked about, you get one thing. And if you lose it, well, then I don't know. You just die. you get one thing. So you have to make a choice. So what do you want? Anne, you're on the hot seat. What do you want most? You want the home?
Out of the three,
Yep,
or out of everything in life.
you want the home, the car, you want to go to Europe, or do you want money? Home, car.
Oh, I want money.
Okay, money.
I want money.
All right. Suzanne, which one do you want most? Do you want the money or do you want the business?
Financial freedom.
Money. Okay. Victoria, do you want the money, the travel, or the business most?
Financial freedom.
Okay. Me as well. Okay. All right. Now, let me just tell you guys that they'll change this later. But again, what have we done? We have gotten them to dream, and then what have we done? We've got them to prioritize their dream. So now here's what we're going to do from here. Victoria, how much money do you want for the rest of your life? You only get one chance. You only get it once. You can't keep going back to the well. How much money do you want specifically? What's the number? How much money do you want?
$10 million.
$10 million. All right. So Victoria wants $10 million. Victoria. And how much money do you want?
20 million.
20 million. All right, Suzanne. How much money? You get whatever you want.
Oh, sorry, I said 20 million. I probably talked out of turn. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was Suzanne. So Suzanne wants 20 million. All right. And Anne, how much do you want?
$2 million.
$2 million. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
2 million. Okay. Now let me tell you, this later, but again, what have we done? Again, follow the process. We've got them to dream. We've got them to prioritize their dream. Now we've got them to actually quantify their dream. Now what we need to do is an analytical study, okay? And we are going to start with Suzanne. So Suzanne.
Me. Lucky me.
Suzanne, there's going to be some personal requirements. I've got some personal requirements for you if you really want that $20 million, okay? So the first thing that you're going to need is an imagination. Now, I want you to do this for me, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10. This is in your imagination, nothing to do with reality. This is just dreaming. In your imagination, how clearly, on a score of 1 to 10, can you really see yourself getting $20 million? I mean, I'm talking really clearly see yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. What number comes?
I have a lot of things on my goal board, so I'd say an 8.
Okay, an 8. All right, so she's an 8. Okay, now, pressure. What's your ability to handle pressure when the wheels fall off? I'm talking about when nobody's left to talk to, there's nobody there to support you. You might even be struggling financially. Everybody's quit. You're part of the infamous NFL club, right? The no friends left club. What's your ability for pressure 1 to 10?
9.
All right, nice. I like it. Okay. Perception. What about your perception? Let's say that in your entire lifetime, Suzanne, that you've only made 10 major important decisions. Okay? Now remember, you've got God as a witness and all of our friends that are watching here today. Let's say that you've made those 10 decisions. How many of those decisions were 100% correct? If you had to just make a choice out of those 10 decisions, what would you say?
5.
Okay, 5. And daring, what's your daring? Daring, how game are you? How are you, your risk factor? How on a scale of 1 to 10, how daring are you?
I think as I got older, my risk factors are not so great because you fear loss, but working on myself, I'd say now I'm an 8.
You're an 8. Okay, cool. All right, Miss Victoria, you are up on imagination on a scale of 1 to 10. This is in your imagination, nothing to do with reality. This is just dreaming. In your imagination, how clearly, on a score of 1 to 10, can you see yourself receiving that $10 million?
10.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, how about pressure, Victoria? Pressure, what's your ability to handle pressure? When the wheels fall off, nobody left to talk to. You've got nothing there, nobody to support you.
I would say 8.
Okay. All right. How about perception? What about your perception? You've made 10 major decisions in your lifetime. And out of those decisions, how many of them were 100% correct if you just had to choose?
I would say 7.
Okay. And daring, how daring are you?
Oh, 7.
7. All right. And you are on the hot seat. Imagination, how clearly can you see yourself getting that $22 million that you want?
10.
Yeah, I like it. I parked the all on. All right. How about pressure? What's your ability to handle the pressure when the wheels fall off? Nobody left. Nobody there to support you. Everybody's laughing at you. What's your ability to handle the pressure?
About 8.
Okay. All right. And perception. You've made 10 major choices in your lifetime up to this point. How many of those have been 100% correct?
Probably 5.
5. Okay. What's your daring, Ann?
About 8.
Hey.
That's why my decisions are up.
Everybody give them a round of applause in the chat bar. Give them a little round of applause. Say yay. Give them a high five so far. You guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Now, what's happening here? Okay? We're finding something out about these women. And by the time that we're done, we're going to know more about them than perhaps that they've ever thought about themselves in a lifetime. You know what I see when I look at this? What I see here is that we're all different. I see that we're all unique. And you know why? It's because these people are all different. There's nobody in the world that has your voice print. There's nobody in the world that has your thumbprint or your toe print. You are completely unique in the universe. And you can make an incredible impact on the world, every single one of you, because you're unique. And even if the person next to you has the same vision and the same aspirations, they'll never do it exactly the same way as you, because they're not you. They're not you. Now, again, you guys have done well. Now, Suzanne, we're going to start with you this time. We spoke about personal requirements. Now we're going to talk about some basic requirements. And I'll explain as we go along, okay? So on a score of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your desire to have that cash?
10.
10. Okay. Now, listen carefully. This is important, and everybody at home, I want you to go along with this as if you're playing along here. So, Suzanne, if you did exactly what you're doing right now and what you've been doing the last 10 years, what is the possibility of you earning that $20 million. Not giving anything up, not changing anything. What is the chances that you'll earn that $20 million in your lifetime? 1 to 10.
Okay, well, in the last 6 months, I've done some major changes, so that's not really that's kind
Last 10 years.
of okay. A 7, no, maybe an 8.
Okay, so you feel like if you keep doing what you've been doing the last 10 years, there's an 8 out of 10 chance that you'll accomplish $1 million.
Had you asked me 6 months ago, I would have said a 5.
Okay, I like that answer. That's okay. Good. Just want to make sure that we're clear. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what is your, and I think I know this answer already in the short time that I've gotten to get to know you a little bit more, but what's your work ethic? How hard do you work? Scale of 1 to 10, just being honest with yourself and everybody else on a scale of 1 to 10.
A 9. I think sometimes a 10, but I know I could do more.
Okay. All right. Now, to be able to make $20 million, you'd have to have a pretty strong worldview, wouldn't you? I mean, you'd have to have a pretty good knowledge when it comes to banking. You'd have to have a pretty good knowledge when it comes to, the tax laws. You'd have to have a pretty good knowledge of world history. You'd have to have a pretty good knowledge of things that are going on out there. So my question to you is what do you believe your worldview is on a scale of 1 to 10? And I'll tell you what mine is. I think mine's probably about a 3.
So you're asking me, like, is the world helping me to get there, or is that the question?
Yeah, like, no, what's your worldview? Well, just your overall worldview about, if you were to make $20 million, then you would have to have a pretty strong worldview on things like commerce and on government and tax laws and banking and history and investing and those type of things, right? To be able to get to that $20 million, to be able to keep that $20 million, what would you say your worldview is on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, my worldview is a 7, but I figure I can hire those people to take care of all that.
I like it. I like it.
My husband would kill me for that one. My husband thinks I need to know all of it.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. All right. Now, last question. And I'm going to ask you a very hard question. Perhaps it might even be one of the hardest questions that you've ever been asked before. And I'm doing it to help you, not to hurt you, Suzanne. And I want everybody at home, I want every person listening to take this question to heart. Okay? Because when I ask this question to our friends that I'm going to ask here in just a moment, it's going to be rather difficult for them. And I want you to feel that for them. And I want you all to imagine that I'm asking this question to each and every one of you, that I'm literally a foot away from your face and I'm staring right in your eyes. And I want you to imagine this question coming to you, okay? So you see, Suzanne, when you were born, they counted your toes. You had 10 little toes, right? I think you have 10 toes, I'm sure.
Yes, I do.
They counted your fingers and you had 10 fingers.
I was blessed, yes.
And they said, wow, beautiful. She's perfect. She's a 10. And Suzanne, you know that you were made by your creator to be a 10. You know that, right?
Yes.
They didn't make you to be a 4 or a 5 or a 3 or a 2 or a 1 or even a 5 or a 6 or a 7. Now, here's the question. I want you to rate your percentage of potential. Now, let me explain. Your potential, we know, is a 10. Everybody on here, your potential is a 10. There's no doubt about that. How much of that potential have you exercised in a world-changing event or some major event that would warrant a score? Because if you give me a score, I want to know what it is that would warrant a score towards your potential. Does that make sense?
So I have to think of different things I've done in my life that have been something good?
Just in relationship to a world-changing event. I want to know where your potential has been exercised so far. You're a 10 in the eyes of God, but what I want to know in your eyes is how much of that potential have you truly exercised at this point in your life? And before you answer, again, if you give me a score, I want to know the world-changing event or action that you've taken that warrants the score that you give me. Okay. Now, before you go, I'll tell you that I think that I'm probably at about a 2 or a 3.
Is that to make me feel better?
Nope. Just whatever you want. But again,
I would say 5.
tell me why. What's your world-changing event?
What have I done in my life?
No, just world-changing. What's world-changing that you've done? Because we are the dream.
I have supported women in a level of where they've made zero money, and we supported them and changed their lives. I'm working on myself, which I figure is going to change the world, because if I can do it, they can do it, because I realize it has to come from within. So I'm halfway there, I believe.
Okay.
I always do good for others. Like, I'm not, I know I have to think of myself, but I also think of others as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
That's all right. Do you consider those to be world-changing events? And it's okay if you do. I'm not judging one way or another.
Well, I'm not a political leader or anything like that, but I have led some groups to do good things in the world.
All right.
Maybe, I don't know, I'm a giving person. I believe I deserve that 5, at least 5.
Awesome. All right, everybody give Suzanne a round of applause, because that's not an easy question. And you answered the question perfectly. I'm just pressing you a little bit on purpose.
Oh, you can. I'm open to this. That's why I'm here.
Awesome. All right, Miss Victoria, you want to go through this?
Oh my.
All right.
Okay.
Now, Victoria, I'm going to ask you a little bit of a different question, first of all, just to throw you a little bit of a difference. What's your cash position today relative to the money that you want on a scale of 1 to 10? So cash position relative to what you want when it comes to $10 million. So you wanted 10 million, right? So that would mean if you were a 1, that'd mean you'd have 1 million already saved towards it. If you were 5, you'd have 5 million. What's your cash position towards that 10 million on a scale of 1 to 10?
2.
Okay. All right. So now, Victoria, to get to that $10 million, do you have a plan that you can show me at the end of the meeting on exactly how you will achieve that goal in writing? Right after this event, right after this meeting, you could show me specifically, this is exactly what I'm going to do, and it's already in writing on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you?
2.
Okay. So, 2 over here. Okay. All right. Worldview, Victoria. What do you know what? To get to that 10 million, you're going to need that knowledge. I mean, when it comes to banking, you probably need some knowledge when it comes to investing, taxes, again, history. What's your worldview on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being know it, 1 being don't know that much.
2.
Okay. Now, Victoria, world-changing event. Things that you have done that have impacted this world. There's no question that your creator created you as a 10. You were born to change this world, to make a difference in our life, in everyone's lives. I mean, it's up to us. Every single one of you that are on here right now, it is up to us to change the world. But a lot of times we lack that perspective. We don't look at ourselves as the world changers. We look at other people, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett maybe, or Richard Branson, but not us. And I'm here to tell you that your perspective is too small, that you have to think bigger. So Victoria, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highest potential, what have you accomplished so far that would rate, where would you rate yourself?
Myself 2.
Okay. And thank you, Victoria. Everybody give Victoria a little round of applause. You're doing a good job. Everybody's doing a great job here. Now, Anne, what is your cash position? Anne wants $2 million. Now, Anne, you want $2 million. Today, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your cash position towards that $2 million?
0.
Okay. So we're right here. We're off the board. We're off the board on that one. Actually, no, down. Okay. Now, Anne, you want $2 million. What at the end of this event, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you have in writing a plan in place today that is going to allow you to be able to accomplish that $2 million with a date that you could show me? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at?
0.
Okay. 4. And now you're going to need a worldview, pretty strong worldview to be able to make $2 million. That doesn't just happen overnight. You're going to need a lot of, knowledge in banking, commerce, and, those type of things. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say your worldview is?
About 5.
Okay. And major potential. These are things that are world-changing events that have happened in your life, things that you have done, that you believe I have impacted the world on a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to you reaching your full potential, meaning 10. You were created as a perfect 10. How do you see yourself?
I sponsor a foster child. That's about the only thing I can think of.
And I don't want you to think that's a big deal. You made it. That's a huge difference in people's lives. But and again, this is not for us to judge you. I'm not here. Anyone here is not here to judge you to say, well, that's not a 2 or that's not a 5. This is your self. This is your self perspective. That's what we're going at for here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you living to your full potential. What would that be?
About a 7 then.
Okay. All right. That is not an easy process. So I want everybody to give them a round of applause. And we're going to take just a moment. I want to thank my volunteers. So here's the thing, guys. I want you to think this is what's happened here. What has happened here is, number one, we got them to start dreaming. And hopefully you started dreaming a little bit too. Number 2 is we started to prioritize our dreams just a little bit. You've got to prioritize because you can't necessarily have everything. As much as we would like to have everything, we can't. So we have to prioritize a little bit. We started to quantify, not just, what that means. What is it going to take for me to be able to live my dreams or achieve my dreams? We started to analyze our skill sets and our strengths and even our limitations. And we've discovered through this process, potentially, and I've done this, you guys, in many places all over the world, and it's always the same thing. We're thinking too small. We're thinking too small. We've got too small of a perspective. We're not living up to that 10, that potential that is inside each and every single one of you. So I appreciate those of you that went through this with me. I know that's not an easy process. And again, nobody's here to judge. Those are just questions that for you, for your own perspective, kind of going through that process. Now, we're operating right now at about 70,000 feet. So we're going to start coming down a little bit. We're going to start getting a little bit more clear on vision. We're going to start getting a little bit more clear on clarity of purpose. We're going to start getting a little bit more clear on goals and what it is that you truly want. We're going to prioritize those goals. We're going to talk a little bit, or you're going to go through an exercise of why those goals are truly important to you. And then we're going to talk about some of the accountability measures, things that you need to ultimately make sure that you accomplish those goals in 2017. So that's what's coming. So once again, I want to say thank you to all of my volunteers, and I am going to take a seat for a moment. So bear with me just 1 second. You got about 60 seconds if you want to grab a drink of water or something, and I'll be right back with you. I'm just going to change positions for just a moment. All right, I am back, and I want to again thank our volunteers for participating with us today. What I want to do here is I want to take a moment, and I want you guys, if you've got some notes, I want you to take this down for a moment. What we're going to do, and this is going to help you just kind of get in the right mindset when it comes to what it is that you truly want and what your purpose is in life. And so the first thing that I want to ask everybody is from a lifestyle standpoint, your current lifestyle. This includes where you live. This includes where you eat. This includes how you travel, where you travel. This includes, the clothes that you wear. This includes all aspects of your, how you live, your quality of life each day. I want you to take no more than 60 seconds, and I want you to just write down what you like. Real quickly, just write down what it is that you like. For me, I enjoy my home. I enjoy the fact that I get to be able to spend time with my family. I enjoy the fact that I get to add value. But I'm going to stop talking so that you can think for a moment on what do you like when it comes to your lifestyle. And we'll give you actually about 30 seconds. What is it that you like most about your lifetime? Get my stopwatch going here. Now, what is it that you dislike about your lifestyle today? I want you to get real clear about this. I want you to really write down what is it that you dislike about where you're at right now. It could be going to work every day. It could be dropping the kids off at a daycare when you'd rather be home with them. It could be not having the income that you need to be able to live the life that you want to live. I want you to think about what is it that you dislike about your lifestyle. And again, just about 30 seconds to write it down for me. The things that you dislike the most. It can be more than one. Now, work. Some of you work maybe for yourselves full time. Some of you might work for somebody else. Some of you might own a business. Whatever the case might be, most of you probably own a business. But when it comes to just work, what do you like about work? What are the things that you enjoy about work? Do you enjoy meeting people, connecting with people, serving others? What are some things that you really like about work? Go ahead and write those down. I'll give you about 15 seconds on that one. What do you like the most about work? What do you like least about work? What's your least favorite thing about what it is that you do for a living? There's got to be something. No matter what we do, there's always one aspect that you just kind of like, I just don't like that. And you might love animals, which I know that you do, but you might not like walking animals when it's negative 15 degrees outside, right? So what is it that you dislike? How about education, learning? It can be things like today. It can be formal education. What is it that you like about learning? What is it about your current education that you do like? And what is it that you dislike? Now, I'm not talking about just learning in general. I'm talking about your education, where you're at today. You might be, you might dislike the fact that you don't have the knowledge in an area of social media that you wish you had, or that you didn't have the knowledge to be able to follow up with prospects properly. You might like the fact that you are learning about SEO and how to drive traffic online or how to build a list. You might like the fact that you are involved in an education or coaching program. What are the things that you like and what are the things that you dislike currently about your current education? Now, I think this next one's pretty self-explanatory. Finances. What do you like about your finances? Now, it might be nothing. It might be absolutely nothing. I don't like anything about my finances whatsoever. Or if you really have to search, it might just be something as simple as, you know what? I like the fact that I don't have any credit card debt. Doesn't matter that maybe I can't get credit cards extended to me or whatever the case might be. I just like the fact that I don't owe anybody anything. That's something that you can find that's a positive. But what is it that you like about your finances? Now, for most people that would do this exercise, it's typically a little easier to find something that you don't like. What don't you like about your current financial circumstances today? You might be in debt, which is stressful. You might, are you getting ahead each month? Are you just getting by? Are you getting ahead, or are you falling behind? If you're getting ahead, that might be something that you like. If you're falling behind, that's something that you don't like. What are all the things about your finances that you currently don't like? How about your health, right? I mean, this is the new year, new you. Everybody's thinking about getting back into shape, getting in the best shape of my life. All those New Year's resolutions were set. Everybody's thinking about springtime coming up soon, and I gotta get back into shape for that. Gym is always packed full January 1st and 2nd, right? Just give it a week or two and it starts to die down. What is it that you like about your health? And what is it that you dislike about your health? I'll tell you one thing I dislike about my health. I don't like the fact that I worry. I stress a lot. I'm always thinking about what's, potentially could happen, or I have to remind myself to focus on the good and the positive, because my mind tends to want to just stress a lot. And at night, I've gotten to the point where one thing that I do is I literally listen to, and this is just for me, I love his messages, Joel Osteen. And when I go to bed, I put on one of his talks and I just turn it down enough that I can listen to it, and it actually distracts my mind enough that I can fall asleep. When I was a young boy, I had to watch TV. I can't believe my parents let me do this, but I had a little TV in my room, and at like 10:30 at night, I would watch Jay Leno or David Letterman, and I had to fall asleep. And if I turned the TV off, I could never fall asleep. And it was because my mind was just so loud. It would drive me crazy. And so I have to learn how to control my mind, or meditate, prayer, listening to things like Joel Osteen. So that's one thing that I don't necessarily love about my health, because I know that it's important to be able to relax. What about you? What do you like about your health? What don't you like about your health? How about your family? What do you like about your family? What are the things that you really enjoy about your family? Maybe you do a family home evening together. Maybe you sit still, one of the few families that still sit down together at a table and enjoy each other's company and turn the technology off. Maybe Sunday nights or Sundays are family days for you. Maybe you get to, you enjoy your vacations. I know Victoria just got back from a great family trip up to San Francisco. What is it that you like about your family? And what do you dislike? What are the things that you dislike? It might be, that there's not a harmonious spirit in the home. Maybe it's there's too much arguing. Maybe it's, the kids don't pay attention. There's not enough, synergy in the home. Maybe if you live on your own and you've got some extended family and there's some relationships that are there that are strained. I mean, what is it that you don't like about your family? And what about your relationships, just in general? I mean, the relationships, the people that you interact with on a regular basis, your friends, your colleagues, what is it that you like about those relationships? What kind of value do you receive from those relationships? What do you like most about those relationships? And what is it that you dislike the most about those relationships? Maybe you're in a relationship that you feel like, it's very one-sided, or you're not being valued, or you're not getting attention. My wife would tell you that I don't hug her enough, wouldn't you, honey? I got to do a better job
When
of
you're
hugging
stressed.
her. When I'm stressed, she says.
Everybody needs a hug when you're stressed.
Everybody needs a hug when you're stressed. By the way, Summer is just joining us, everybody. So say hi to Summertime. She'll be kind of tuning in and here as well.
Do you tell babies
So again, now what I'd like to do is I'd like to see if I have a volunteer that would like to share one of the things that they like, one of the things they don't like about their lifestyle. Anybody up for volunteering? Anybody willing to share with us? Feel free to just unmute your mic. I'd love to hear if anybody's willing to share any one of these, any area that you're willing to share with us. I'd love to see some volunteers. Now, you don't have to if you don't want to. Do I have any volunteers out there?
I can
I'll
go again,
volunteer.
but I mean,
Okay.
okay, someone else can.
Nope. Ann first and Victoria go second. Ann, go for it. Ann, go ahead.
Sorry,
You
that
mean
wasn't me,
Suzanne?
but
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was Ann. Okay, go. Whoever that was, I apologize. Go ahead and just say your name and then go for it.
It was Suzanne.
Suzanne, go for it. I got the Ann part. I just missed the Suze.
That's okay. I didn't know if somebody else wants to go. People, it's fair that everybody has a turn.
That's okay.
For my lifestyle, I love that I can travel whenever I want to travel. I love that my family's kind of spread out, so I love that I can go see my grandkids when I would like to. And I love that I'm constantly learning in my lifestyle. That's it.
It's great ones. Thank you for sharing. Victoria, how about you?
Yeah, I'll share in the finance area. I will say, abundance in our lifestyle currently we have that I don't have to look at price tag often to decide what we want to do. But at the same time, that what I dislike about it, I'm not saving enough and not investing enough for the future and for building my financial freedom. So that's my weakness.
Got it. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. Who else? Anybody else want to share? All right. Well, let's go ahead. So this is just a great exercise that kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about next. And that, I think I muted everybody. There we go. I think everybody can see me now. And let me go back to the big page. Can everybody see the clarity of purpose page? What gives you meaning? You can't see it. Nope. Okay, let me see what I'm doing wrong here. There we go. Now I think, how about now? Okay, thank you. All right, so we are going to be talking about clarity of purpose and direction, which really is the first step towards success. To develop your personal clarity of purpose, you need to do a few things. First, you need to define what success means to you personally. Summer, what does success mean to you personally? Summer loves it when I put her on the spot. What does success mean to you personally?
I'm used to it now. Pardon me. Success to me personally is more about how I am as a parent, how I am as a wife, how I show up for the people in my family. And also, I think it does trickle down to our children when I see them accomplishing their goals, when I see them, doing well and handling problems like with Sienna. Our daughter Sienna had some issues with a friend going a different direction, and she made the choice to stand strong in her resolve to not follow the crowd that she, that age when I don't know if any of you have children out there, that age in 9th grade where that's when the kids start to choose if they're going to, cuss when mom and dad aren't around or, what they're going to put on Snapchat or those sort of things. And I don't know, those type of moments when you see that what you've taught someone, your children, maybe even in a business, you see that they're making those right choices without you micromanaging them. I feel like to me that's a huge success because it's like passing that baton of the moral code that that you've done a good job teaching that person. Everyone always has free agency, of course, but I think that can show up in our business relationships as well, people that we've helped along the way in network marketing or in any other business when you're a business coach. I don't know, those things for me are my markers of success, is seeing that leadership baton passed and them taking charge of it and being successful.
I love it. So success is different for each and every one of you, right? I mean, I think that, it's interesting. Success, a lot of times people try to attach monetary milestones, and that can be part of your success. But in most cases, when you really dig down deep and explore what success is for most people, it's not about the money. For me, it's about having the respect and admiration of the people that I'm closest to. That's success to me. And again, your children, doing the right things. All those are the type of things. I think Summer answered it perfectly.
My kids don't always love, and I mean, they always love me, but they always have those days. Sometimes they don't like it. But.
So real quickly, I want everybody, as we've been sharing, hopefully you've been taking some notes. What are the, I want you to just write down, and I want you to come back to this, and I want you to spend a little more time in this area. But what are the 5 to 10 things that's, what's success to you? What does success look like to you? I want you to just take about a quick 30 seconds. And I want you to just write down, what is success? And I'm going to be quiet so you can think for just a moment. All right.
I think you can have different categories of success too, like spiritual, physical, business, family. I think it doesn't have to be like one sentence that encompasses everything. I think you can have different categories. If any of you are having difficulty, narrowing it down to one sentence.
Silence is so hard for me. I knew you were going to laugh at me. So Summer and I, whenever we do events and we do exercises, and I'll be on stage and I have the microphone and I'm like, okay, we're gonna be silent. I want everybody to write these things down, and I can't stand the silence. Like, it makes me like uncomfortable. so I'll keep talking and I'll keep thinking out, and she'll be like, would you please be quiet for a second and let them think? So when I said I'm going to be quiet for a second, she looked right at me, and I know that's what you were thinking.
I know, that was my little thumbs up to you.
All right, so I want you guys to really think about this. I want to draw this out of you, and I really want you to spend some time thinking about this weekend. What is success to you? Next, what I want to do is I want you to create a vivid mental image of you as a success. I mean, I'm talking about vivid, clear, picturing you as if, right? I'm never a big fan of the term fake it until you make it. I believe in faithing it until you make it. When I first got into the network marketing, or we got into the first network marketing industry, we were still pretty young. I mean, we were 29, 30 years old. And, at that time, and I think that this market still exists. I think the millennials are now a newer market that's coming into the play. But the market that we were going after was 35 to 55 married kids and bills. That was our target market. But the problem is going and talking to people that were my father's age and trying to tell them that we're going to teach you or help you to be successful was a very intimidating thing for me. And so I really had to get in the right mindset and really start to see myself as if I had already had the kind of success that I desired. And a lot of times I borrowed the credibility of the people that were having success. For me personally, I actually dressed up as in a suit. Summer will remember this. I put on a suit a lot when I would go out to my meetings because I felt like it made me, not that I wanted to look like I had money. It was more about my own self-image.
Well, you know what they say? I spent some time in LA, a short time that was, auditioning. And whenever you would go for an audition, they want you to come dressed as the part, whatever that could be, whether it was, a hippie in the 70s or a married young mother, a teenager, however it is that the part that you wanted, you had to dress the part. So I think that's the same in life. Whatever part you want, I think you need to dress the part. And that doesn't mean go out and buy, more expensive things than you can afford for your budget wherever you're at. But just dress the part that you want the job for.
Yeah. And then the last thing is, and this is very important when it comes to clarity of purpose, is clarify your personal values. I want to share a story with you that is kind of a personal story to me, and it has to do with values. So when I was 12 years old, we were walking to school one day, and I was in 6th grade. And I had a bunch of friends of mine, and we're at that age where we thought we were cool, and we were probably using language that we shouldn't when our parents weren't around. And so here we are, a group of about maybe 5 of us walking to school, and we're using kind of foul language. And all of a sudden, my friend Clint starts walking a little bit faster, and he double steps, and he's just walking about twice as fast as everybody else. And it was just kind of odd because he didn't say anything, and the rest of us, we all kind of laughed, like what's his deal? What's the problem? And he literally just took off and went to school, and we never saw him again until later that day. And it was just a very odd experience, and kind of teased and made fun of him a little bit. And then when we got later on that evening, we were at baseball practice, and Clint was a ball player, and so was I. And I said, Clint, what was the deal this morning? Why'd you just take off? And he says, Travis, you guys were using language that I didn't want to be around, and I didn't want to make you guys feel bad and say, stop. So I just chose to remove myself from the situation. And I was like, wow, and I look back on that now, and it means more to me today than it even did then as a kid, but especially a 12-year-old to have that type of strength and courage to be true to his values, even at that age, was something that I admire and I respect today more than anything. So a lot of times your values will ultimately determine what is your overall, it'll help you to be clear on what your purpose is. Taking a bold stand for living on purpose starts by knowing your purpose with crystal clarity, knowing it so well that if somebody woke you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and asked you what your life purpose is, you'd be able to tell them. And if somebody who knew you well heard what you said, they'd realize that your life was a true and authentic reflection of that purpose. And first, your clarity of purpose, it has to be deeply ingrained in your psyche. It has to be part of who you are. And it also, you have to live your clarity of purpose 24/7, 365 days a week. And this takes commitment to determining your life's purpose and commitment to living it. A year ago, Summer and I decided that our life's purpose is to help other entrepreneurs create the successful lives and careers that they want and that they deserve. And it required us to make a shift in the direction that we had been on for the last 10 years. And it was kind of a scary decision for us because we've had security and comfort and all of those things. But we felt like we weren't being true to our purpose anymore or what our passion was anymore. And so as a result of that, we made a difference. We made a change. And it was scary. And it still is scary, right? Because we're launching this business. But it gives us great satisfaction. Now, if you were to wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and shine a light in my face and ask me for my life's purpose, I know that I'd say I'm helping entrepreneurs win in business. It's that much a part of me. It helps people. It helps people apply their common sense, and it helps with your elevator speech, and it helps it helps with all of those things when you're clear on your purpose. So, what is your purpose in life? Is it deeply ingrained in you? Have you ever thought about it? Clarity of purpose and direction comes first in a successful model. I always suggest to my coaching clients that they think of their purpose as their mission in life. Why are they on this earth? Why are you here? Why are you on this earth? I suggest that you think of that direction as a medium-term goal, something that you will accomplish over the next 5 years or so. Clarity of direction, it helps you to determine what you are going to do really every minute, every hour, every day. If your direction is congruent with your purpose, others are going to take notice. And more importantly, you'll be living your purpose and creating the successful life and career that you deserve. The common sense point here, you guys, is simple. Successful people clarify their purpose and direction in life. They have a clear understanding of what success means to them and an image of themselves as success. And everything that they do is consistent with that clarity of purpose. They look forward and they decide where they want to be. Their day-to-day actions all help them move closer to their vision of success and are consistent with their clarity of purpose. And when you clarify your purpose and live it, you're going to hardly ever procrastinate to find yourself going off on tangents because you know what your purpose is. You'll be laser focused on living the life that's important to you and do the things that you need to do. So what is your clarity? What is your purpose? Now, what if you're feeling uncertain and don't have a lot of clarity about your future direction? What if you can't decide what you'd like to do next? And this can be a common problem, especially for sometimes the younger generation.
I actually think that it can be a problem for any age. I mean, there's so many people who, if they lose their job, that's all they've ever done. I mean, my stepmother, for
That's
instance,
true.
she's in her 50s, her late 50s, and she just found herself with her company, Ernst & Young, a huge company, who's now downsizing, and she was given severance pay. I mean, I think this can happen to anybody at any time. And I think the more people that know how to deal with this and have a roadmap, per se, on how to reignite or because she's at a place now, I'm just using her as an example, where she's like, I don't even know what I would do. I've just done this same job for 30 years. 30 years she's worked for the same company. She never really had to think about that. So I don't think it's just for young people. I think it can happen at any age where something changes in your life and now all of a sudden you're faced with something new and you're having to try to figure it out.
Well, I agree, Summer. And here's some things that you can do. Let's talk about that. There are many actions that you can take and mental adjustments that you can make that are going to help you shift from uncertainty to certainty. So let's talk about them. Number one is assume 100% responsibility for your own level of clarity. Many people assume that clarity is something that will arrive in good time if they simply wait patiently. And others feel stunted that they aren't gifted with the same degree of clarity as others. The common pattern is that clarity is seen as something that is bestowed from the outside in. That it's something God or the universe or the world at large has the power to grant you, or that it's an accident in some way, and some people get lucky and others don't. And these attitudes, they're self-defeating. Clarity isn't something that arrives from outside of you. Clarity isn't a matter of luck either. Clarity is what you create for yourself. Clarity is a decision. Whatever degree of clarity that you're experiencing right now is what you've decided to create. And not deciding still counts as a decision, by the way. And in that case, it's the decision to remain uncertain. The word decide comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off from. To make a decision, you must cut away from other potential directions. If you remain open to lots of different directions at the same time, you get confusion and you get fuzziness. And when you commit yourself to one specific direction, clarity is the natural result. How many times have you've been involved in so many different things that it's kind of like, well, I'm trying to do this thing really well, and I'm trying to do this thing really well, and you're not doing any of them well because you're not focused and you're not clear on what it is that you truly want.
I think also, it's a good pattern to follow if you find yourself in a situation, to be logical about, don't be like, hey, I decided I'm going to go be a singer and you've never sang before. And, choose something logical in your wheelhouse, weigh out the options the best that you can. And for those of you who have a higher faith, pray about it and then make a decision that you feel best works for you. You might not get the answer right then and there. It might take time, but if you make a decision and then continue down that path with faith and praying to have confirmation that you did make the right choice, it will come and you will know if that was the right choice or not. And maybe it won't be, but you have to move in a direction. If you stay in limbo forever, you can die a very painful, slow death. Do not do that. Make decisions quickly, weigh them out in your mind, ponder them, pray, and make a decision, and then move in that direction, having faith that you made the direction best to your knowledge and ability after you've done due diligence. They say faith is dead without works. You can't just sit around and wish and say, oh, I have faith and this is good. I have faith in myself. I have faith in whatever. You have to take action and work towards moving in a direction, and then stay the course while continuing to ponder and pray that is the right decision. And I always feel like that's a formula that's always worked for us.
I love it. I love that. I agree. Here's number 2 is stop creating the opposite of clarity in your life. And let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. Some thoughts and actions, they actually lead to increased clarity. Other thoughts and actions have that opposite effect. And if you want to experience more clarity, you've got to disengage yourself from that which has an adverse effect. So let me give you some examples. How about, hanging out with fuzzy or unfocused people who are drifting aimlessly with no direction, right? That's number one. Number two is living with people whose goals and values are in conflict with yours. That can be one.
Or their moral compass is in conflict with yours too, because they're going to be making decisions based on a different set of principles.
About distracting yourself with things like excessive TV or web surfing or video games or other time-wasting habits. Numbing your mind and emotions with junk food or alcohol or other addictions, or overstimulating yourself with things like caffeine, as I say that with my Red Bull this morning, right? or whining.
I think overstimulating is not just like having one cup of coffee. I think that means like, having 10 before the day is out, something like that. Whining
about your lack of certainty, or complaining that you don't know what to do, or instead, let's talk about some of the opposites. You can hang out with people that know where they're going, focused people who can tell you their purpose and their direction. You choose to surround yourself with people whose goals and values and they align with yours. That, feeding your mind with inspirational and motivational material and books and things like you're on today, eating healthy, unrefined foods, right? Fruits and veggies and fresh juices and smoothies. Avoid stimulants that cause swings in thoughts and emotions. Thinking about your goals and the next actions that you can take today. If you find yourself surrounded by people and circumstances that leave you feeling dizzy and confused, then drop those elements from your life and give yourself the space to create that joy and clarity that you're looking for, because spinning in circles is unproductive. Another one is harvest and apply the clarity lessons from your past. Notice that your level of clarity isn't the same at all times. I know for me in my life, if I look back, there's been parts of my life where I've just been really, really, unclear about what it is that I want. At some points in your life, you've also been very, very clear. Take some time to review those times when you've been at one extreme or the other, and see if you can identify some of the cause factors on both sides. And another one is use visualization to create the vibe of clarity. Either you feel clear and focused right now or you don't. And you may assume that your external reality has to be a certain way in order for you to feel clear. Having all your ducks in a row, it may make it easier to feel clear, but you can also use your imagination to create that feeling of clarity. Clarity is also more than just a feeling. There's an emotional state that is associated with it, but it's more than that. Clarity it's a vibe. It's a vibe. When you're clear, you can sense that vibe through every cell of your being, and your mind and emotions, they're centered, and every part of you is on the same page, and there's no doubt. There's no certainty or uncertainty. There's a powerful state of being, of just being. So sit quiet for a moment and imagine what it's like to hold that vibe of total clarity, and imagine what your surroundings would look like if you were really clear about your direction in life right now. Number 5 is you can ask for help. Help's available when you need it. I mean, there's people around you that are willing to help you. There's people that have the success that you're looking for. You can align with mentors. You can surround yourself with support groups. You can hire a coach. You can do all of these things that will help you to be able to get a little bit more clear. And bear in mind that you're still 100% responsible for your level of clarity, but you can use these counselors or these mentors or these coaches as advisors, as a resource to help you see the big picture. And another one is to put your goals in writing, which we're going to be doing here in just a few minutes.
Please, this is a little interjection here. Please do not take advice from the people who are living their life unclear and who have never really had direction. We all have people like that we know. Maybe they're in our family. All you can do is love them. Do not take advice from people who don't have what you want, aren't living the life that you want, don't have the moral compass that you want, have not had the success that you want. Do not take their advice. Sometimes it's easy to go to that friend or, family member and kind of, I don't want to say have a pity party, but, and then they think that you're in that down moment, maybe because you don't have clarity, and then you're kind of having your own little pity party talking to them about it. Do not take advice from those people. Know that I'm not saying you can't express or communicate, but don't take advice from the people that do not have what you want and do not have clarity in their life.
Isn't it funny that a lot of times those are the people that want to give you the most
They
advice?
do. That's why I'm saying that, because then they think, oh, and a lot of times these are people who maybe are waiting for you to fall, or maybe have, they're like, oh yeah, see, they're always the ones waiting for the other shoe to drop. So now they're like, yeah, see, now you know how I feel, or the victims or whatever. Do not take advice from these people because they're always going to be full of it.
Well, and another thing that you can do is you can put your goals in writing. You can review them daily. We're going to do that in a moment. As you write down your goals, you'll experience a boost in clarity. And each time that you review your goals, you're also going to gain more clarity. And writing down your goals pushes you to make them clearer and more precise. And it's easy for a goal to remain fuzzy when it's only in your mind. But if it's stuck in your head and you can't even write it down, it's more of a fantasy than a goal, right? What's that saying? If it, a hope that that's not written down as a mere wish,
yeah,
or a goal that's not written down as a mere wish. Putting your goal in writing is the first key action step towards making it real. And then you keep drilling your goals into your subconscious mind by reviewing them daily. Imagine your written goals as physically real, not fantasy. And soon your internal resources will be aligned with making those goals come to fruition. Jack Canfield recommends the practice of writing your goals on index cards, or one goal per card, and then flip through the cards and imagine each goal as real when you wake up in the morning and again before you go to bed. And this is a great habit to instill. And just also know that, accept that any goal is better than no goal, right? Any goal is better than no goal. When asked to take a few minutes to write down goals, certain people, they love to whine, but I don't know what to write down. I don't know what my goals are. And in that case, you can write down, I want nothing. If all you have is a blank page or no page at all, then your goal is nothing. That's what you're asking for. So that's what you're going to receive. The people who whine and they don't know what to ask for are really saying, I want nothing. I can't think of any single thing I want, so I'm asking for precisely nothing. Sounds pretty foolish, right? And then, of course, you got to crystallize your goals. At first, you might write a goal down like like you want to have a job that you enjoy. And that's an okay place to start, but it's not a very powerful goal because it's fuzzy. Your mind will have a hard time locking on to taking action. As you review your goal, you got to try and lock them down and make them more specific. So we're going to go through that process.
Also, one thing that I used to do, my mom used to make me listen to these tapes when I was little. They were, and is anybody old enough to remember? I'm dating myself. Actual cassette tapes that you had to stick the little pencil in to rewind it. Yeah, at night. And goal setting was one of the things. And they used to get sticky notes. Mm-hmm. And if you get sticky notes, it's kind of easy to always have them where you are, like on your mirror when you're getting ready. Hey, on your mirror when you're getting ready for work, for the day, maybe on your fridge if it's a diet goal, on your microwave if you're microwaving something bad that you're not supposed to eat. This is all for food stuff for that one. But just put your sticky notes maybe on your computer up here. You can actually make sticky notes to put on your computer. The electronic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And anyways, I like that. I like little sticky notes. They're bright. They're cheerful. You can get them in different colors. So.
Another thing is to pay close attention to the path or the journey, not just the end result. Because it's funny, you set a goal, and it's good to set a goal and a target and be very clear about it and know what you're going after. But the truth is that the growth occurs when you're going after the goal. The most growth occurs not when you're standing on top of the mountain, it's in those valleys. When we're inside those valleys, that's when we're learning and we're growing, and when we're being stretched to our greater purpose in life. I'll tell you that when we got involved in network marketing over the course of the last 10 years, this industry has had a huge impact on our lives, in all area of our lives. It's helped me to become a better father, a better, community leader, a better, husband, all of those areas. And I'm grateful not just for, the freedom that it's given us to be able to live life on our own terms, but I'm thankful for the person that I've become. So you've got to be willing to pay attention to the path and not necessarily just that end result. And then lastly, of course, be crystal clear on the vision, but remain open to the approach. So, there's some things when it comes to clarity of purpose. Now, the next thing that we're going to be getting into is we're going to be talking a little bit about vision. Vision is very important. And let me make sure here. Okay, so you guys should be seeing my slide on vision here. I want to just differentiate first and foremost the difference between goals and vision. A goal is a specific target to achieve something. It includes the strategies and tactics that you use to move towards your vision. And you should set and achieve goals only that promote or are in line with your vision. And this is why if you don't have a vision, goals alone can be kind of defeating. Because without a vision, each goal is just something that you've completed without a larger why in mind. I want to share a story with you about just having a powerful why. I remember many years ago, there was a gentleman that was in my team in my organization, and we were doing a lesson and a training on why, and ultimately, what motivates you to take action, and what is what is your why? And the moral of the story is your why should make you cry, right? And your why is what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's what keeps you going when you're struggling, and you are part of that NFL club, and you're just not getting the results that you're looking for. If you're not in tune with your why, you're not going to have success. And furthermore, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right, Victoria? We talk about this a lot. Simon Sinek, if you haven't read the book, The Power of Why, you definitely should. You've got to get in touch with your why, because when you start sharing your why with people, I could sit here all day long and talk to you about the services that we provide, and it would bore you to death. And, you'd put up a wall on a subconscious level because everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. But the moment that I start talking about why I'm doing what we're doing, it changes, because now you start to connect at the heart level. And that all comes back to your vision. Your vision is your why. Vision gives you something, some direction. It's your destined future. Your vision includes what you believe in, your core values, and what you want in your future, what you want to be. It's the powerful reason why you want to do something. Your overreaching purpose. Your vision is your passion, and it keeps you excited and it keeps you motivated. It's what inspires you to do whatever it is that you want to do. So this gentleman in my team, I called him up on stage, and we were doing just an exercise, and we went through this process of getting in tune with your why. And I asked him to share, and he says, my why is that I want to be able to retire my spouse. And I says, well, that's a great goal. Tell me why. And he says, and he started off on the surface. So that was his goal. I want to retire my spouse. Okay, well, why do you want to retire your spouse? Well, because she deserves to be at home with her grandchildren. Okay, well, tell me what that means to you. And he says, well, the reality is that when we retired, we did everything that we were supposed to do. We worked 40 years. We saved. We put enough money away that we'd be able to live a modest retirement. We built a nice home. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was our home, our dream home. It was on a couple of acres of land, had a nice porch in the front. And you know what? We loved sitting on our rocking chairs in the evening, and it was just exactly picture perfect. And I says, well, what happened? And he says, well, the downturn in the economy that really hurt a lot of people, including myself in 07 and 08, we lost our 401k. We lost our savings. We lost everything. And as a result of that, I was on medical disability, and I couldn't go back to work anymore. So my wife had to go back to being a school teacher after her retirement, after teaching for 30 plus years. And we lost our home. And as a result, we now are living in an apartment, and she has to go to work every day. And it just drives me crazy. So my why is that I want to get that home back for my wife. I want to put us in a position where we have enough residual income coming in, because I know that I'm at an age where I can't go to work and save as much money as I need to be able to retire one day with enough money in the bank to be able to do the things that we want to do. I have to create other options. Guys, I want you to hear me very clear. This is the majority of our population today. Inflation is at a point where it is going up so quickly. Most people will not be able to save enough money in their bank account to be able to live the life that they deserve when it comes time to retire. Especially now with the interest, minimum wage going up and all of these things, the world is changing. And I'm telling you, entrepreneurship is the new retirement plan. Entrepreneurship is the new retirement plan. So, he shared with me a why that really, it made him cry. And it gave me chills when he shared that story with me. And so that's the kind of why that you have to have. Your vision of what could be. And this vision must be so compelling, so sexy. I mean, I'm talking about so real that it pulls you towards it. That's what gets you into the gym, and it gets you out of bed in the morning. It makes those extra calls and doing the extra project and challenging yourself. And let me tell you something. It's that vision that attracts people to you and your business. That's the vision. When you have a big vision, That's the thing that people are attracted to. You know why? Because you know where you're going, because you're certain about your future. Because you're certain about your future, people want to attach their wagon to you. There is nothing more unattractive in leadership than somebody who is uncertain about where it is that they want to go. They're up one moment, they're down the next. They're here one moment, they're down the next. And I can tell you that inconsistency will hurt you. Vision isn't just woo-woo stuff. There's research on the brain's prefrontal cortex that demonstrates that when you consistently envision something, you actually increase your brain's ability to create a compelling vision for yourself. And the really fascinating thing is that the neurons that you use to create your vision are the same ones that fire when you actually act on a vision. So a vision is a picture or idea that you have in your mind of yourself, your business, or anything that is going to happen. And a clear vision does what? It helps you to pursue dreams and achieve goals, an idea of the future, a strong wish. A vision that is clear will open your mind to the endless possibilities of the future. And a vision will help you to overcome obstacles in the way and helps you hold on when times are tough. A vision that is well defined, it helps you to focus and create a purpose that becomes your measurement for success. I can't tell you how many times along our journey where we wanted to give up, we wanted to quit, we asked ourselves, is this really what we should be doing? But we relied on that crystal clear vision of knowing where we were going, what we were going to accomplish. And as a result of that, it was that vision that pulled us through those challenging times. And a vision can be used in a couple of different ways, inspiration and prediction. It's used to inspire you in reaching something that you're wanting, but it's also used in predicting changes in the future and interests that you have. And a vision of a leader can be spread to others, I'm telling you guys, with proper communication. Your job as the dream merchant, if you're leading a team, is to constantly share the vision, the big picture, to get people refocused on what could be, what is, what if. If I think about the best leaders in our profession, in the marketing profession in general, think about people like Walt Disney. Walt Disney wanted to buy land in the middle of nowhere, and people thought he was absolutely crazy, but he had a vision. And he continually shared that vision vividly. And he eventually started to get people to buy into that vision, investors to buy into that vision. And still people said, you're crazy. Walt Disney had 6 or 7 breakdowns in his lifetime, but yet he remained true to his vision. And today we all see Disney everywhere, right? It's because of his big vision. So how do you build that vision? The first step in creating a vision is to know exactly what you want. If you have a hard time creating a vision, think about the history. Reading history can help you to see past changes and what changes that you might like for yourself. Ask yourself, where do you want to see yourself in a few years, 5 years, 10 years? You want to be healthy, wealthy? Tell yourself specifically how you picture your life. Anything is possible with a vision. And a vision is the capability to see beyond your current reality, creating and inventing what does not now exist and becoming what you are not right now. A vision is important in all aspects of life. So a couple of things to remember when it comes to vision. Number one, you need to know who you are. You need to know who you are. You need to get in touch with who you are, your values, your purpose. You need to brainstorm. You need to imagine. You need to spend time dreaming, doing things like what we did today, exercises like today, and going through that process for one purpose, to really get you to dream again. Focus on giving your life purpose and meaning, the things that give your life purpose and meaning. And don't put limits on your dream. That's one of the things that I've learned the most in learning and coaching and working with our business clients, is that a lot of people put limits on themselves of what they think is possible. And you've got to learn to break through those limits. A compelling story of the future, it's engaging. It captures the heart and the energy and the attention of the people around you. It moves people. What does your future look like? What is that image? If others could travel into your future, what would they find? And here's the other thing. It's got to be described in concrete terms that are easy to visualize and remember. It's easy to say, well, I'd like to be a nice person. I'd like to, have more people that like me. I'd like to leave a legacy. Those are all great things. I want to leave a legacy too, but it's hard to hit a target that's not specific.
Hey, Ted Bundy was a nice person.
Ted Bundy was a nice
That
person.
didn't mean anything.
It's got to stretch you. And it's got to be achievable too. If it were not achievable, then you wouldn't have any motivation to even bother trying. And finally, future simply means out there. Sometime from this moment forward, but not so far away that it's out of reach. So that's a vision. So now with that in mind, we're going to go on. Oh, I just messed up my slides here for a moment. Are you laughing at me?
No. No, I just didn't clarify, but you know what I meant by that, right?
Oh, yeah.
That comment.
Okay. So now we're going to be talking a little bit about some SMART goals. Before we go into our goal setting process, we're going to dive into SMART goals here for just a moment. You guys have all probably heard this term before. If you haven't, we're going to go through real quickly. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but this is very important when it comes to your overall success as you go through this process that we're about to go through with goal setting. Right? Number one, your goal has to be specific. What is your goal? How much? Where will it take place? When will it take place? How are you going to measure your goal? Measurement will give you specific feedback, and it's going to hold you accountable. Right? Goals should push you, but it's important that they are achievable. Right? Are your goals attainable? Is your goal and time frame, is it realistic for the goal that you have established? And do you have a time frame? T, right? Do you have a time frame listed in your SMART goal? This helps you to be accountable and to help you keep your eye on the prize. So, you don't see the slide. Hang on, let me make sure that you guys see my slide here. Boom. There you go. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate that. Now you're seeing me. I don't want you to see me. I want you to see my slide. And for some reason, it wants to keep coming back to me. Let me turn that off. Okay, can you see my slide now, Victoria? Or Suzanne, you guys see me? Okay, thank you. All right, so here we go. So SMART goals again. I'll keep this up here for just a minute. Again, S, your goal should be specific as possible. Should answer your questions. What is your goal? M is measurable. Are you able to measure your goal? A is, are they obtainable? Are they achievable? R is your goal and time frame realistic? And T, do you have a time frame listed in your goal? So I want you to think about this as we go through this next process, okay? So how do we set goals? What are the things that, what's the process? The first thing is that you've got to think about the different categories, right? It's easy to be general. I would say that a large majority of our population, they don't even take the time to write down their goals. Everybody says, I've got New Year's resolutions, or I've got goals, or I like this one. I don't set New Year's resolutions. I just set commitments. I love that. And I love that idea and theory. The reality is if you don't take the time to go through this process and ultimately get very specific and write it down, you can call it whatever you want, a goal, a resolution, a commitment, whatever you call it, that's fine. But you've got to take the time to go through this process. So what I want you to do is I want you to, on your journal, on your notes, whatever it is, I want you to break it up into categories. I want you to break it up into health, finances, education, professional as in business, and I've got two others here. You can choose between one or two, spiritual, and the last one is family. And I want you to take some time, and I want you to, based on what we just talked about, talking about clarity of purpose and being as specific as possible, I want you to list 3 to 5 goals in each one of these categories, starting with health. I want you to write 3 to 5 goals. Every one of you that are on here right now has got some type of a health goal. I'm sure of it. So write 3 to 5 goals. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds or so, 45 seconds. And again, this is an area that we can come back to, but I want you to get very clear on just your health goals. So take about 30 seconds here. We'll be quiet and let you focus on those. All right. So again, and I want you guys, because of the sake of time, we've got to move a little bit quicker. But I want you guys to come back. And if you haven't completed this process, I want to make sure that you do. Real quickly, I want to stop for just a moment and see if there's anybody out there that's willing to share one of their health goals with us for the coming year. Anybody out there feeling comfortable sharing a health goal?
Well, I can share mine while we're waiting for someone. Is anyone out there that wants to do it?
I'll share one.
Okay, good.
Please do.
I need to lose 10 pounds.
Okay. With all that walking that you do, are you sure?
I know. I just say, I've walked all that for 4 hours or 3 hours, so I can eat all this. So it's just, you know what I mean?
I do.
So I'll just eat this because I'll just burn it off, but it just, you know what I mean? It doesn't work that way.
I love it. All right. Anybody else want to share a health goal? Victoria is a wonderful health coach and helps a lot of people be successful. And I know that her family has recently gone through some awesome health changes. She's made some big changes for her family recently, haven't you, Victoria? And her family is starting to see some really good results as a result of that.
My health goal is to try to get less. I feel like I'm constantly struggling to get sugar out of the house. It's so much more prevalent than when we were growing up. I never had sugar in the house, but that's my health goal for my family, and for my health goal for myself is definitely eliminating processed foods.
Victoria, you're seeing a lot of clients that are looking for change. What are you seeing out there?
I'm sorry, seeing.
Well, just what are some of the health goals that you're seeing most common, or what are some? I mean, I know you guys have recently made some changes in your house. You mind sharing any of that?
Right, actually, I mean, ourselves and a lot of professions of people that I see, I mean, they don't know how to eat better. So they're just grabbing what's close to them. That's the commonality. So I think that, I mean, having to planning out what you're going to eat, and to choosing that organics, what give you more energy rather than just close to you. So, I mean, we got, after end of the year, we got all the junk food. So we don't see it, we don't eat it, we don't buy it. It's just changing habit. It was big eye-opening for me. I know what to buy, what not to buy, and changing even regular flour to changing to coconut flours, and I can able to cook with that. It's been life-changing. So, I mean, there's great choices out there, just being educated to it helps a lot. It helps a lot for energy levels and eating better and feeling better and do stress-free.
Awesome. All right, so let's go over to finances. I want you to give me 3 to 5 specific goals for finances. And it can't just be, I want to make more money. It's too vague. What are some specific goals? It could be, I want to pay off this specific credit card. It could be that I want to add an extra, X amount of dollars per month to my household income. It could be that I want to create an additional $500 a month of revenue coming in specifically from this business. It can be that I want to have X amount of dollars in savings by the end of this year. It can be that I want to start saving X amount of dollars per week that I put away, so that at the end of the year, I have X amount of dollars to be able to take a vacation. I want you to set 3 to 5 goals specifically for finances. We'll give you 30 seconds here to write these down. And again, that's not adequate time. I know, I just don't want to leave everybody sitting in silence for so long. So I want to give you about 30 seconds here, but I want you to come back and revisit this. But real quickly, what comes to mind? 3 to 5. All right, now education. Think about this from this perspective. Education, we're talking about what are the areas that in 2017 you need to be able to learn. What are the areas that you need to learn more of? It could be social media. It could be marketing, it could be branding, it could be anything that you want. But what are the 3 to 5 goals that you're setting for yourself from an education standpoint in the upcoming year? What are the things that you really want to accomplish when it comes to learning? It could be getting a degree or starting back towards a degree, whatever it is that you want. What is important to you through top 3 to 5? All right, now professional. This is business. This is your personal business. This is your profession, and this is, I know why many of you are here, and the interesting thing is that a lot of these things all tie together. It's all about having balance, right? It's all about having synergy, because if you're out of balance in one area, then it will totally take you out in all other areas as well. You can have your finances all day long, but if you don't have your health, then you have nothing. So, again, we want to have a well-rounded goal-setting outline. So for you professionally, what are the things that you really want to accomplish in 2017? And I want you to be as clear, as concise, as specific as possible. It can't just be, I want to make more money. It's got to be more specific than that. You can't hit a vague target. You've got to have a bullseye. So I want you to be very, very clear professionally on your 3 to 5 top goals that you have for yourself for 2017. It could be, I want to hit a certain rank in a company. It could be that I want to hit a certain level of income. It could be that I want to hit a certain level of monthly income. Whatever the case might be, I don't want to throw too many out there because I want you to really brainstorm here. But what are 3 to 5 professional goals that you have for this coming year? And I am going to ask for a couple of volunteers here. So we'll give you about 30 seconds, and I'm going to grab a drink of water, and I'll be right back with you. Top 3 to 5 goals professionally. Okay, so, and again, if you don't have them and you want to take some time today to reflect on this a little bit more and add to the list, we encourage you to do that. Who wants to share one or more of their professional goals for 2017? Anybody feel like sharing or open to sharing?
Oh, I'm muted. Oh, Travis? It's Ann.
Hey, Ann.
Can you hear me?
I can hear.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I didn't get them all, but let me know how this. I want to be successful in network marketing.
Okay,
I only got 2.
Pause you there. What does that mean? What does successful mean to you in network marketing?
Oh, being one of, well, not a good producer, not a top producer. I don't think I could ever do that in the amount of space I've got left.
I'm going to stop you.
I don't want to ever hear you say that. That makes me sad.
I believe that you can be that. I genuinely believe that, Ann, and we're going to work with you on that because I believe that you can be. But real quickly, even you said mid-level producer. What is a mid-level producer to you? What is it that what does that mean to you?
Oh, maybe about $500K per year.
Okay, I like it. So $500,000 per year. So now we're getting a little more crystal clear on your goals. Just making more money. What else?
That's awesome.
I said I want to be able to right now at least make 20K a month in production, or I'm used to saying that, a month in money.
Okay. I like it. It's specific.
Love it.
It's measurable. It's achievable.
Yeah,
You can
Okay.
do it.
that's all I could. That's all I could think of right now.
Okay.
No. Yeah, and for my other business, my dog walking business, I want to be able to bring in more clients,
Okay. How many more clients?
bring in more dogs. I need probably about 10 more would do me good.
Okay. So 10 more clients. And what I want you to do is I want you to go back to those goals you've shared with me and set a time frame on those goals. Okay. Doesn't necessarily have to all be in 2017, but I want you to give yourself some time frames.
no.
Just some time frames. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Right now?
Yep.
Oh, or later.
Right. As we're talking, I want you to go back and think about that and write those down a little bit. And
Okay.
just set some time limits on those. Who else has got some that they want to share? And if you're finished up, and go ahead and mute your mic out just so we don't have any background noise, and I'll call on you again in a little bit. Anybody else want to share professionally? Okay. Spiritually. And I put two categories here because some of you may not be spiritual, and that's totally fine. I mean, to each is his own. If you don't want to do spiritually, you can do family, or you can do both. But what are some goals that you have for yourself when it comes to either spiritual or family or both this coming year? And again, top 3 to 5 goals. Okay, now that you guys have taken some time to write these down, and once again, I want you to as we're getting into this mindset today, I want you to take some time to really complete this if you haven't come up with a 3 to 5. And then I want you to go back and I want you to apply the SMART goal process to each one of those individual goals. Because it's very important that they are specific. And I want you to really get as crystal clear and specific as you possibly can. Not, I want to be more, a successful network marketer. Okay, well, what does that mean to you? How much money does that mean specifically? What else does success mean to you? Maybe it's that you are able to retire from your job. But I want you to get as specific as you possibly can. Because again, our mind works in specificity. It has to be able to, it's kind of like if you were to type a roadmap into your MapQuest. When you do that, what happens? You get a specific address and you get a specific roadmap to get there. But if you type in just a general area, then it's harder to get to that exact location because it doesn't have a pinpointed exact specific location. Your mind works the exact same way. So again, I want you to take some time to do this now. I want to share a story with you about goal setting. Turn the camera back on here for just a moment. So Summer will remember this. You're out of my camera. There you are. So Summer and I, many years ago, sat down at the new year and we did a goal setting process with our children. And we pulled out, I think it was a whiteboard and some magazines, and we went around the table and we ultimately talked about what it was that we wanted to accomplish as a family. We thought we'd include the children. And, the girls at the time were really little. They were into their little princess dresses. And so, I think we went to the girls first, or the kids, all of them, and said, what do you want? And what did they say?
They all wanted Disneyland, even Chandler.
Yeah, they wanted Disneyland, right? They wanted to go to Disneyland. And up to that point, I don't think that we'd ever been to Disneyland. Mm-hmm. It was something that we just hadn't been able to afford to do and take the kids yet. But man, it was right in that age. Our girls are pretty close in age, and they were all wearing Disney dresses, except Tuscany, I think, was still a little one, wasn't she, or younger?
She was about 3.
She's about 3. So yeah, even her, she was into the whole dress thing. And so then it came around and we talked to Summer, and Summer says, okay, I said, what do you want? And Summer says, well, I want to build. And what did you want to do?
I wanted to be able to design and build my own home.
And not just I mean, literally from the ground floor up, design the plans, pick the paint, pick the tile, pick the flooring. We had a theme that we liked at that time. Do you remember the theme? Do you remember what it was? Tell everybody what it was. The kind of theme home that you wanted to build. It was a Tuscan themed home.
Wanted to be Spanish, European.
That's right, and
with Tuscan influence. Yes.
So she was very specific. That's why I'm asking that question, because she was very specific about the style home that she wanted. And then it came to me. And one thing that I love is I love water. Like, water is calming to me, whether it's, my backyard pool or I love to be on lakes, just because I love being around water. And so for me, there's a place that's nestled up between Utah and Arizona, and it's called Lake Powell. And I don't know if anybody's been to Lake Powell before, but I will tell you that it is one of the most beautiful places on earth. I want you to picture the Grand Canyon, but hundreds of miles of shoreline, and it's a beautiful lake. So the lake has the same canyons that you'd find almost in the Grand Canyon. The coloring is beautiful. You can navigate back into these channels and for days. And a lot of people go to Lake Powell and they go on a houseboat for 5 or 7 days. And these houseboats that are on Lake Powell are 3-4 bedroom houseboats, 70 foot long, 2 stories, kitchen, bedrooms, you name it. And I wanted to be able to have an ownership in one of those houseboats. To me, it would have been my dream to be able to have that. And also we lived on a lake in Utah. What was the name of the lake? I forget. Utah Lake, sorry. And
we lived in Saratoga Springs.
We lived in Saratoga Springs. And so I wanted a boat. I wanted a ski boat. And so we got very crystal clear on what it was that we wanted. And we had a little dream board that we created, and that little dream board went downstairs in our office and for quite some time. And we went about our work, and at that time when we set those goals, we weren't doing very well. I mean, we were struggling. And so fast forward, I want to say it was like 18 months, maybe.
No, it was. I remember.
She knows. So she's a detailed person.
I have a weird memory for time sometimes. I don't know if any of you have that, but I thought we made it after you broke your knee.
Yep. So how was that? How long about that?
That was like October, November. I don't remember if it was the first time you broke your knee or the second.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it's a whole nother story. So it's like October, November-ish, maybe December, and by March.
Okay. So
by April.
Okay, so 16 months, 15 months or so.
We had 2 of the goals.
Okay, so here we were, fast forward, and we're in our garage, and we're unpacking boxes.
4 months, honey.
Oh, 4 months. I thought you were talking about the next year.
No, it was the next year. It was 4 months.
Okay,
literally.
So I'm not good on time frames, but I'll tell you this. So here we were, we're unpacking in the garage, and we come across this poster board, and we opened it up, and it was amazing because everything that was on that poster board had happened. We had just gotten back from Disneyland. We had been to Lake Powell.
Yes.
We were unpacking boxes in our brand new home,
Yeah.
and we had a brand new ski boat sitting in our driveway. And I share that story, and it kind of gives me chills as I still think about it, because we were clear on what it was that we wanted. So sometimes that these exercises that we go through, they can seem a little bit routine,
Yeah.
but the reality is when you know what it is that you want and you get crystal clear on it, it's incredible how the world just conspires to give you and deliver what it is that your intentions, right?
I don't like the term "give you" because it sounds like you're entitled. Because we definitely worked. We had to work.
Oh yeah.
And when I say 4 months, we unpacked it. When we found it and unpacked it, like when we had packed up, that had been 18 months. But within 4 months, we had accomplished one of the goals on there, and that was the houseboat. Actually, we did 2 because then we also had a ski boat too within 4 months of making that. And then within the following October, so within 12 months, we took our entire family to Disneyland.
Couple
which
times,
could be
wasn't it?
No, well, that one time, I'm just saying from the time we made it, the first time we went was October, and then we went again the next October after that. So we had 12 months from the time we made those goals. I'm just giving you realistic time frames. But when we had unpacked it had been like 18 months, 2 years, but yeah.
I don't work in detail. Summer's like No, I know. I'm just saying that I always call on Summer whenever I need to know what date, what year it was, because to me they all kind of blend together.
And the reason why I clarify is so people have realistic expectations. I don't. and they know that it does take work.
Yeah.
But you can do it. It's
All right.
possible.
All right, so we're going to switch gears here, and we're going to go back over to our slide here for just a moment.
Can I just add one thing real quick to that? And one of my things too, if one of your goals is to go on a vacation to Italy or go to Disneyland or to buy a boat, or if it's some sort of monetary goal, that's something that you have to purchase to do, like a trip or an item, I highly recommend that you do some due diligence to find out exactly what that costs, because it's easy to say, oh, for us, for an example, we want to go to Disneyland and we have 3 kids and we want to go there, but you can't pay for it if you don't know what it costs. So I think that it's good to have like a goal, monetary goal, and research it. And it's kind of a fun dream building exercise too, to be able to research, okay, exactly how much would it cost for me to go to Italy and, go to all these places for a week in June, or the fall, wherever it is. Get very detailed and then find out exactly how much it costs, because you can't just say, oh yeah, I want that someday, and have no idea of how much it costs. You're going to have a goal to accomplish it. You're going to need to know how much that costs. So that's just a little side note.
All right, so you should be seeing the slide to do 1, 2, 3 ABCs. And what I want you to do here, and we're not going to spend too much time on this, but I want you to go back through your goals, and I want you to rate them. A being top priority, the most important thing that I want. I want you to apply kind of the process that we went through earlier today when we had to choose what was the thing that you wanted the most. And I want you to kind of go through that same process here. And I want you to rate your goals. A being the top priority, most important. B being still important, but just, if I had to choose, this is, I want the other thing more. And then C being from least important. So again, A, B, and C. And I want you to take just about 30 to 45 seconds and go through each category. And I want you to rate those goals as an A, B, or C goal for me.
Travis, it's Ann. I can't see the screen, but I don't know where to write or to type to you.
Okay, so let me see if you can see the screen here. You guys see the screen now?
No, it just keeps saying Passion Meets Purpose.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Thank you.
Waiting to view Travis's screen. Does everybody else see it?
Yeah, no, I got a message too. Sorry, this my
Okay, there, yeah. Oh, then it went back.
How about now?
No for me.
Interesting.
Okay, now I see it. To-do list 1, 2, and 3. So many things.
Yep. All we're doing, just real quickly, is we're going to go through and just do the ABCs on all of your goals. So ABCs. Go ahead and rank your goals in the categories that you have. I got to get used to this.
I'm sorry, I don't understand that, Travis. Say that again.
So let me be clear. So in each one of the categories that we talked about, right? So you have different categories: health, finances, education. You have different goals. Mm-hmm. Now, what I want you to do is I'll go back into each category, and I want you to rank those goals, meaning what is a top priority goal for you?
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then what would be a secondary? And again, all of them are important, but let's be honest. We can't necessarily have everything either. And so what we're doing now is I want to prioritize those goals, because I want you to know to you what is the most important thing that I need to be focused on. So I want you to just go through A, B, and C and just rank your goals real quickly, whether it's an A goal, a B goal, or a C goal. And we'll give you guys about another 30 seconds or so to do that. So again, we're just going through, we're rating those goals in an A, B, and C. And here's what I want to do. So I want you to go through this process. And for the sake of time, I want you to do this process today. I don't want you to delay on it. I want you to do it today. And what I want you to do is I want you to, first of all, I want you to ask yourself, why is this goal important to me? And I want you to write a couple of sentences of why it's important to you. So for today, for right now, just so that we can kind of get you started on this path, what I want you to do is I want you to take the A goals that you just created, and let's start with your health. So looking back at our health, you've got your A goals. I want you to take just the A goal that you created, and I want you to write in 1 or 2 sentences why that goal is important to you. Why is that a goal important to you? So you want to lose 10 pounds. Why is that important to you? What does that do for you? And remember what Simon Sinek says. Here's why we're doing this. And this is why this is so critical. Because what you want is not going to compel you or motivate you or pull you through the dark times, the challenging times, or motivate you to take action when you don't feel like it. Why you want to accomplish that goal will. Losing 10 pounds, when you say it, it's just a specific goal. But when we start talking about what that does from a standpoint of confidence, from a standpoint of overall health, getting back into shape, having more energy, what does that give you? What does it do for you? That takes it to an emotional level, and we have to be willing or able to connect on an emotional level, not just what you want, but why you want it. You might want to make $500,000 a year or $20,000 a month or, an extra, whatever it was that you put down for your financial goals. But what does that really get you?
There was an awesome training that I did once. I can't remember when it was, but it was a while ago. And what I'd never heard this before put this way. And this woman talked about having a journal that all this journal was for was every day, at the end of the day or whenever she had time. I mean, she said that she liked to do it before bed because they say that the last thing that you think about before you go to bed is what stays with you through the night and kind of fills your dreams, and it kind of sets your mind on what it is it's going to be thinking about while you're sleeping. So she would like to do this at night. And she said sometimes she would do it in the morning if she had time. And that is a journal. And she would actually write down what $20,000 a month looked like to her. And she would spend it. So, because she said, for me, money, I found out, was not my motivator. Yes, I wanted money, but it wasn't money itself. It wasn't like I wanted to have a pile of money sitting around me and bathe in the money. I wanted what the money could get me. That's what I wanted. I wanted the lifestyle it could get me. So for me, to motivate me on those days, I just got in a daily habit. And if I skipped a day, that was fine. But I always tried to do it every day if I could, of writing down and spending that $20,000 a month. What would I spend it on? What would my lifestyle look? She said it helped me to visualize what my life would look like if I was making $20,000 a month. She said, for me, when she first started out, she's like, I didn't start with 20. I had very low expectations of myself. I had to work on that. So she started at 10. So it can, I'm not saying $20,000 has to be what your goal is, but if you want to make $500,000 a year, or if it is that you want some monetary value for yourself for the year or the month, break it down. And what would it look like that you're spending that amount of money per month? What would your lifestyle look? What could you afford? What could you afford
would
to
you
do
get a
for
nanny? Would you
afford to do for other people?
Mm-hmm.
But even still, a car is still a thing. So it could be for her, she had to break it down to, eating healthier, being able to buy all organic things. She did want a newer car, and that means that she wouldn't have to fix her, instead of spending money on fixing her AC in the summertime for her car, this or that, she'd have a new car. So get very specific. And she would dream build every night before bed, and she would spend the $20,000. I'm just using that as an arbitrary number, a month, and what that looked like and how that would change her life.
Well, and again, we would encourage you to go through this process with at least your A and your B goals, and every single category, at least have a couple of sentences. And you can expand on that, the more the better, because keep in mind that this is going to be something that you reference back to throughout the entire year. And so this is your roadmap. This is your strategic plan of action. This is your, or excuse me, this is your, this is for you to keep you on point and to help you with your clarity and your purpose and your vision. And so going back and not just thinking about what it is that you want to accomplish, but more specifically what it is that you're going to gain as a result of accomplishing your goal.
Yes.
And then going back and reading that. We'll talk about in just a moment as we wrap up goal setting here from an accountability standpoint, what you want to do. And then once you've done the why, here's the next step. Once you've done your why, your next step is I want you to write down, again, minimum A and B goals. What 3 steps do you need to take to achieve that goal? So if we go back to, again, let's say we go back over and we look at our goals, and we've got professional goals, and I want to make $20,000 per month. What are the steps that I need to take? And it doesn't necessarily have to be 3, it can be 5, but I want you to list the steps that you need to take to accomplish those goals. Because what we're doing is again, remember we started off today at about 70 or 80,000 square feet. We came down to about 50,000, started to set specific goals. So we went from vision at 50,000 down to, and purpose down to 40,000, to setting goals down to 30,000. And now we're getting a little bit more specific. We prioritized those goals. We're getting down to 20,000. And now what we're doing is we're starting to talk about why those goals are important and what those goals will give me. Now we're getting down to about 10,000 square feet. And then now we know what those goals are going to give me. Now I need to know what are at least 3 steps that I have to take to achieve my goal. So now what are those steps? Well, if I want to make $20,000 per month, and that means that I have to do what to accomplish those goals? I've got to hit this rank. You should know what that rank is. If that's the number in the income that you want, then you should know what rank is going to get there. And then within that rank, how many people do you have to have in your organization to be able to accomplish that? And then from that point, how many people do you need to personally sponsor, do you think, to be able to develop an organization of that size? So what you're doing is you're just slowly filtering down, and you're creating, and you guys, you can do this all the way to the point where you get to a daily plan of action.
Reverse engineer.
You're reverse engineering the process. Yeah. So this is the process to be successful in goal setting. If somebody just says, oh, this is my goal this year, I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm declaring it. I'm putting it out there in the world. That's not enough. You've got to go through this process that we're taking you through today. And it's so critical that you take the time to complete this process, because I know that we're running a little short on time, and I do want to get into limiting beliefs, and I want to teach you how to get motivated when you don't feel like it. And what we will be doing is a follow-up course to this that will be, down the road a little bit further on mindset, and we'll be digging a little bit more into exploring the depths of where your limiting beliefs come from. But I do want to at least touch on them today.
Yeah, and we also do have a course at eLife with the mindset course, which is an awesome course too. Oh,
Cultivating the Mindset of an Entrepreneur. Yes. It's course number 1 in our entrepreneur development program. So again, what are the 3 steps that you need to take for minimum A and B goals to be able to accomplish that? And I want you to take some time on this and complete this process today. Very critical. And then the last thing is, from an accountability standpoint, how do you hold yourself accountable? Well, there's some things that you can do. Number 1, you can tell some people about your goals. When you declare unto the world, what it does is you're telling people, hey, I want to accomplish this. And now there's a sense of accountability there, because you don't want to look like a fool. You told people about it. You can even have accountability partners. I know we've got some business associates that are on here that have gotten groups of their business partners together to watch this. You can hold each other accountable. Number 2, you can read your goals daily. I was having a conversation recently. I think it was Victoria I was talking to, and she said, do you read your goals daily? And the truth is I don't, as much as I probably should. But it's one of those things that at the bare minimum, you should do every single week. Every Sunday night, you go back, and if you've got that success journal, you go through and you read exactly what we started with today. You read. You should write out your vision. You should have a page in your journal that says, this is my vision. Then you should write out a page that says, this is my purpose. And then you should write out a page that says, this is my goals, in each category. And then you should have a page that says, okay, these are why these goals are important to me. For each one of your, at the very bare minimum, at least your A goals, and hopefully your B goals as well. And if you want to do it all the way to the C goals, it's great. That's a great process. And then from there, you should have a page that says, okay, what are the action steps that I need to take at the bare minimum for at least these A goals to make sure that I accomplish these goals? And you know what that first 5-10 pages of that journal is for you? That is your roadmap to success for 2017. And that is something that you should, at the bare minimum, now the experts say you should read it every day. If you could wake up in the morning and you read that every single day, now you have something to measure your daily activities to, because you can say, well, this last couple of days, I've kind of been falling off track. Here's what I want to accomplish. Here are the things that I need to accomplish for 2017. Here's why they're important to me. So every day you're connecting to that why, and you're getting yourself emotional, and you're reminding yourself why it's important. And on the bad days, because remember what Mama said. Mama said there'd be good days and bad days. You're going to have good days and bad days. And so on those bad days, you read that, and it helps remind you to get refocused again. And this becomes your roadmap to success for 2017. Be specific as possible. Be specific in your goals. Be specific in your why. Be specific in the list of things that you need to do to accomplish those goals. And then, like we talked about, measure your success. How do you measure? By reading your goals on a regular basis, periodically, at least weekly, if not daily. And then celebrate when you do start to hit some of these goals. Make sure that you celebrate. Go out to dinner. Celebrate the little achievements. Even if they're little, they're significant. It's those little milestones that you hit along the way. I was reading, I sent a story out recently, and if you're on my mailing list, you got this. It was a guy by the name of, I think it was Yamamoto, and this guy won the marathon in 1984, and he came out of nowhere. No one had ever heard of him before. And they says, well, how did you accomplish this goal? And he says, well, I outsmarted all of my clients. I outthought them. And people were like, what does that mean? And so then he won the second big race, and people were like, how did you win? And he says, well, I outminded them again. I outthought them again. And people were like, what in the world is this guy talking about? And so then 10 years later, he produces his autobiography. And in the autobiography, he clarifies what he was talking about. What he did is he would go to where the race was. And what he would do is he would walk the entire course of the race, and he would identify specific mile markers or markers along the race. So the first one was the bank, and the second one was the big tree at the corner, and the third one was the store down the road, or whatever the case might be. And he said that when he first started out racing, he would always have the end in mind. He would always think about finishing that 40-kilometer race. And he said within 10 kilometers he would be out of gas. But when he did this, and now he started to focus on the bank being the first destination, and the tree being the second, he would get to that first goal, and then he would kind of, he'd celebrate that he made that goal, and then he would sprint off to the next one. He would break it up into smaller goals, and by doing that, he was able to focus on much smaller, more obtainable goals, and allowed him to be able to improve his overall performance. And all it was mindset and what he was focusing on.
They say that you live where your mind dwells.
That's
so wherever your mind focuses on or dwells is where you will live, and it's where that's what will show up in your life.
The next one is make gratitude a habit. Make gratitude a habit. This is so important. I believe that when we are in a spirit of gratitude and we're thankful for the things that we do have, we'll be blessed with more of those things. And when we focus on the things that we don't have, or we find ourselves in a place of envy or jealousy or spite or some of those type of mindsets, when we allow ourselves to go there, I think that we cut ourselves off from the abundance mentality, the abundance that's rightfully ours, that's out there, because we're not showing appreciation. And I don't, whether it's spiritual or whether you just think it's the universe that's conspiring for you, whatever your belief system is, I believe that when we are congruent with the law of abundance, I believe that we are blessed because of that. And so I think that we have to be, it's got to be every morning, we've got to wake up, and the first thing that should go through our mindset before anything else are, man, I'm thankful that I can take a breath today. I'm thankful that I'm alive. I'm thankful that I have a home and a bed, and I'm better off than probably 3/4 of the population that's out there. I'm thankful that I have food in the refrigerator. That kind of spirit of gratitude is so critical.
Well, if any of you are parents out there, I'm certainly not more giving when I feel like my children aren't grateful for the things that when they have an attitude of ungratitude. That kills me. That's when I get like, okay, you want to see me get upset with my kids? It's when they're ungrateful for even the simple things that we do for our family, for our kids. So when you think on that, if any of you have children, why when we have an attitude of ingratitude, ingratitude, then does our Heavenly Father want to bless us?
It's true.
He's blessed us with so much. So I always just think of it in terms of being a parent. That's very easy for me to do, and that helps me to always be grateful. I think I that's something I love to do. I love being grateful. I love thinking of all of the blessings that I have. It makes me happy. It fills me with joy.
I agree. How about developing a personal growth plan? I believe wholeheartedly that you attract the success based on at the level of growth that you are currently at. John Maxwell refers to this as the law of the lid, right? We attract at the level that we're at, first of all. So let's say on a leadership capability, your leadership ability is a 4. That means you're attracting 1s, 2s, and 3s to your life. It's pretty difficult to attract a 7 or an 8 when you're at a 3. And so the number one thing that you can do to grow your business in 2017 is raise the lid, increase your knowledge base. Continue to dive into books and consider, personal development plans that are going to help you grow and learn. And again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you guys are here on a Saturday with us, listening to us. And I know there's a lot of other things that you could be doing. So you do understand the importance of growing your mindset. But it truly is, for us, as we raised, number one is we made a personal commitment to personal development, and we fell in love with the constant pursuit of leadership. And then number 2, we continually, and still are doing this, raise the bar on the people that we allowed into our inner circle. We continue to attract better opportunities and better people to our life as a result of that. Hiring a coach, I know, again, preaching to the choir because a lot of you guys are my personal clients, but hiring a coach, in my opinion, is one of the most critical things that somebody can do to take their business to the next level. Think about it. Every top producer that you can think of, every top athlete that you can think of, every top Olympic athlete, professional athlete, baseball, football, soccer, golf has a coach. Every top executive that you can think of has a coach. Why? Because that is the person that is going to provide you with perspective and things that you can't see, helps you grow, helps you take yourself to the next level, gives you, helps you stretch you to be the person that you're meant to be. And I think that a lot of people avoid that because they get comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of success. Conformity is the jailer, or what is the saying? Conformity. I'm losing my mind here on that. Conformity. Anybody remember that saying or that quote? Conformity is the enemy to. I can't think of the quote right now.
Comfort.
But you guys get what I'm saying, right? So hire a coach. That's something else that you can do to be successful. So let's keep moving along here, and let's get into, first of all, let me stop right there for a moment and ask, are there any questions? Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down here? Are you guys feeling me here? Conformity is the enemy of conformity. Comfort is the enemy of achievement. That was the quote.
Or progress.
Or progress. Comfort is the enemy of achievement or progress. Any questions? Feel free to take a moment here, unmute yourself. Any thoughts, comments, feedback up to this point? Any breakthroughs, anything that you have discovered through this process? Any feedback, any questions anybody would like to share up to this point? We'll take just a moment, and then we're going to jump into limiting beliefs.
Travis, it's Ann.
Hey, Ann.
Hi. You're really doing an excellent job. I think it's great. But with me, I have to get rid of some of my emotional baggage. That's a big thing for me.
Got it.
I've got a lot. That's very holding me back. So, I don't know where I do or what I do, or I just have to keep saying to myself, like, this I just don't let it bother me, because I've done The Power of Now. And I guess I got to go back and read that because I keep going back to the past and I can't, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, ooh, and then I go forward and then I'm, ooh. So,
well,
you know what I'm trying to say, right?
No, I do understand. And I want there's a reason why the windshield in your car is very big and the rear view mirror is very small, right? You want to keep your
right
on the future. And limiting beliefs, it does require work and time. And I know that you're involved in our EDP program, and I think that you're going to continue to gain more and more perspective out of that. And I think this next segment that we're going to dive into here, is going to to also be valuable for you as well. We also, we're going to continue to be doing courses that will get more and more in depth into emotional baggage and limiting beliefs and those type of things as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Without knowing details and stuff, I do think that it's very important in my journey for me to allow myself to forgive myself for the mistakes that I've made. I don't know, I should have done this, and what if, and also to forgive. I don't know what it is that that's you're looking back on, but for me, I've noticed when I haven't quite forgiven the situation or myself, because I'm my own hardest critic, or others
Exactly.
were involved in that, that's what keeps me looking back. And not that I don't remember those times, but I felt like if there's a certain point in my life that I keep looking back on, I kind of is my little red flag to say, okay, why am I doing that? And then maybe I haven't quite forgiven myself because maybe I messed up, or I did this, or maybe I haven't forgiven the others that were involved in, a situation that was harmful to me emotionally. Yeah. So I don't know if that helps. But
no, that's exactly it, Summer. Exactly. Because what happened, everything that I've done wrong has been my doing, like what you were saying, but you still go back, there's been other people involved, and you just exactly what you're saying. Exactly.
So just be gentle on yourself, love yourself, and know that we weren't put on this earth to be perfect. We were put on this earth to learn and grow, and maybe just changing the way you think about that might help to put it into perspective of, maybe it's helped you be a stronger person. But whatever it was contributed to who you are today, and you should love where you're at, and you're at where you're at for a reason. And you should just be gentle on yourself and know that, that you're awesome and you're amazing, and we're allowed to make mistakes and move forward. That's how we learn and grow. I always get excited when there's difficult challenges that come our way as a family. I've told Travis this over the years many times. I'm like, I wake up, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Aren't you so excited? He's like, for what? When we're having these down times, he's like, because, this is happening, or, because our car just got repoed, in the past or whatever. And I'm like, yes, I'm excited. You know why? Because it means that we are being pushed to grow. And whatever comes after we get out of this and we get through this, we're going to have better knowledge and understanding on how to do this, how to not do it. And there's something better around the corner. So I know that sounds a little crazy, but I actually start really, truly getting excited whenever we're faced with some sort of challenges, because I know, not maybe at that moment, but like as the day passes and the next day passes, I start to realize, oh my gosh, I recognize this is an opportunity for growth. Yes, let's do this.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Anne, for sharing. Anybody else have any other thoughts, comments, feedback, or questions before we move on? Okay. So I want to give you guys some resources for getting motivated when you don't feel like it. And, there's a process that you can go through when it comes to, think about how many times that you've said, I know what to do. I just am not doing it, right? Would have, should haves, and could haves. One of my favorite quotes, right? Be careful, or you might end up should have being all over yourself. And it's one of the biggest deterrents to success. So there are some things that you can do if you feel demotivated, that you can break the cycle. And the secret is being well prepared and knowing how to get yourself unstuck when you find yourself in those situations. So I want to share with you 6 powerful questions that you can ask yourself to avoid shoulding all over yourself. So again, first of all, number 1, the first question that you can ask is, what am I confused about? Because we naturally move away from things that we don't understand, and we tend to avoid what we don't know. So the key to moving past this barrier is to gather the right knowledge, and then go to the activity. Go do that activity over and over until you gain more experience. And having the right knowledge, what it will do is it's going to help you to feel more certain about what you need to accomplish. And here's the thing, experience leads to more competence, and competence is the key to having more confidence. There's a study out there, and it's pretty interesting. It says it takes 10,000 hours to become great at something. And I think that it's a great study, and I think it's accurate, but it's also misleading, because I think that a lot of people think that, oh, it's going to take me 10,000 hours before which, if you do the math, it could add up to about 10 years in some cases to be an expert level at something. And so I think that it keeps people from even starting. But the truth is that there's a great a TED talk out there about this, and what it says is that it actually takes only about 20 hours to really be great or to be good at something. So 20 hours of deliberate, intentional practice, whether it's a guitar or whether it's playing a sport of some sort, or prospecting, calling and following up. 20 hours deliberate practice can take you from being subpar to actually good at something. Now, it might take you that 10,000 hours before you literally master it, but hey, isn't good at good a pretty good goal?
I have an interesting interjection. Have any of you seen the movie La La Land? Or if you go see it, Ryan Gosling actually does play the piano in that. And if you have ever played an instrument or no, you would be impressed when you see that. I didn't think it was him. And then later on, I found out that it was actually him playing all of those piano pieces. And I was super impressed. Some of those piano pieces were very difficult, but I found out that he actually practiced 3 to 4 hours a day for 3 months before he filmed. So I would love to, didn't add all that up, but if you see that movie, that just goes to show if you can go from not playing the piano to playing how he did by just practicing and adding those hours up. I don't know how much is 3 hours a day for 3 months, 3 to 4 hours. I don't know how many hours that is, but that's just a really good example. Also, if you've ever seen August Rush, Carrie Russell learned how to play the cello just for that piece. And that was incredible. She was awesome. She practiced 5 to 6 hours, never had played the cello before. I think it was 3 to 4. She might've been 4 or 5 months prior, because that was really complicated, but Google it, look it up. It's just a perfect example that you can go from knowing nothing to being quite proficient and very, very, very good. If you just set your mind to it, put the hours of work into it and practice.
Awesome examples. So another question you can ask is, what am I worried about? So again, these are things when you are feeling like, hey, why am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? Ask yourself, what am I confused about? What am I worried about? When we worry about something, our natural tendency is to avoid it altogether. And here's an example. You might say, well, what if I look foolish if I try? Has anybody ever done that before? Right? And the mind immediately kicks in. And as a protection mechanism, it says, let's just avoid the possibility altogether. Let's just avoid the misery and go shopping, right? By first identifying what we're concerned about, we can begin to determine whether the threat is real. And you might be thinking, what if somebody tells me no? Or what are they going to think about me if they know that I'm doing one of these opportunities? And these are two very common fears that hold people back from the success that they desire. The key is worry less, and you've got to laugh more. By acknowledging the fear, you can now begin to ask yourself a different series of questions. So let me give you an example. Instead of saying, what are they going to think about me? You say, what's the worst thing that happens if somebody does tell me no? Can I live with that? Who cares what people think about me? Because you know what? I can't pay my bills with other people's opinions. And at the end of the day, what matters most is whether or not that I provide for my family and whether or not I achieve my goals. Some will, some won't. So what next, right? You've all heard that. Sometimes all it takes is giving yourself a little mental pep talk, and this allows you to override those fears that are keeping you from taking action. And if you find yourself saying, I can't do something, but you know it in your heart of hearts, if you do it, you're going to grow, you're going to be a better person, it's going to contribute to your family or your kids or to something that matters, and you keep saying, I can't do it, there's no question. You just got to go do it. You can't discuss it anymore. You've got to go take immediate action and do what's necessary. Another thing is you can say, well, what happens if I don't take action? And this is a very powerful question, because if you ask yourself, what if I don't take action? It allows you to weigh the odds between the alternatives and then make a good decision on which consequence is going to be worse. So let's say you have an overwhelming fear of what people are going to think of you. And if you invite them to look at your business, then that means you're suffering from what many refer to as paralysis from analysis. But by asking the question, what if I don't take action? And then you start listing all the consequences. Well, I won't achieve my goal. I'll feel like a failure. I'll be stuck in this dead-end career. I won't have any money for retirement. I'll be letting my family down. I won't be able to take the vacation that I promised. It starts to put things into perspective, right? Another thing you can do is you can say, what habits can I change? Does this sound familiar? You sit down, I'm going to make some phone calls, but first you go through your little routine, right? You got to get your drink ready. You got to check your emails. You got to log onto Facebook to update your status. You check the news feeds to see what everybody else is up to. And finally, you pull out your names list that you could potentially call, and then you get a little nervous, and then you get distracted by some other task that keeps you busy. Does that sound familiar, you guys? Right? It's a bad habit. Tony Robbins talks a lot about changing patterns, and he says to break a limiting or destructive pattern, you use a pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt is anything sudden and unexpected that you do that totally defies the pattern, and it breaks you out of it. So think about what are some things that you enjoy that are enjoyable, some enjoyable ways to break patterns. Like maybe it's turning on music. For me, I'm breaking a pattern every time that I turn on Joel Osteen at night before I go to bed. That's how I interrupt that pattern of keeping my mind going so that I can literally go to sleep. Another question. How will things improve if I choose to act now? Think about the power in that question. Because now you're not just saying what's going to happen if I don't take action, but now you're getting and because you guys have crystal clear pictures of what you want most in life, you can actually go back to that. You can even read it and why it's important to you. Again, you wouldn't wake up in the morning and start driving without knowing where you're headed. Why would you live your life this way? Think about why professional athletes spend tens of thousands of dollars in practice on the field, hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially on coaches, and they do it for one reason, the victory. That feeling they get during the big game, the chance at winning a championship, an overall sense of accomplishment. It's worth all the sacrifice. And they constantly visualize what it'll feel like when they achieve the victory. It's one of the reasons reporters ask Olympic athletes, was standing on that podium everything that you imagined? And the reality is, the elite performer, they spend much of their life visualizing what it'll feel like when they do win. And by defining what it is that we want vividly, we begin to see a roadmap that's going to take us there. This includes those day-to-day mundane activities that will lead us to the promised land. I'm a big fan of making a dream board. I'm a big fan of, again, these lists and things that we've talked about today. So the next time that you're struggling to act, you can pull out the list and you can visualize what it's going to feel to bring that gold home, or visualize what it's going to feel like when you do make $20,000 a month, or when you do get out of debt. And you can read about it, and you can you can go to that, draw on that source of that well of inspiration every day, or when you're feeling motivated. And how about this one, the last one? How bad do I want it? How bad do I want it? How bad do you guys want it? The goals that we've talked about today. There's a story that I'm fond of. I told this in church just last week, and it's about a wise old sage who knew every second of He knew every second of life. He lived in a splendid isolation on a mountaintop. And this sage, or excuse me, let me start this over again. I've got my story mixed up a little bit. So it's about a man who wanted to know the secret of success, and he decided to find out from a guru. And there was this wise old sage who he knew, everything about life. And he lived in this beautiful mountaintop. And our hero set out on his difficult journey to meet this wise man. And he was determined to reach the top. And so he goes over many obstacles on his way. And he's fighting through thick forests and scaling huge boulders. And he's escaping from wild beasts. And at last, he gets to the peak. And he laid down on the ground. And he's grasping for breath. And a few minutes later, he sits up and beheld this guru seated there. He's seated there in deep meditation. And silently, he waited. Almost an hour later, the guru finally opens his eyes and he glances at the man. And he raised an inquiring eyebrow. And the man stammered. And he says, "Oh, wise and all-knowing seer, I came to you in search of the secret of success." And the guru didn't reply. He simply stood up and he started to walk down the hill. And the man followed. He found it difficult to keep pace with the old man, who seemed to skip from one rock to another like a mountain goat. And they walked steadily for another hour, and then he wondered if they were going to go back to the foothills. And suddenly they came upon a clearing. And in the middle was this beautiful, clear lake. The waters were still, glinting softly in the rays of setting sun. And the guru walked up to the edge of the lake and beckoned the man closer. And with a gesture, he asked him to kneel down. Unquestioningly, of course, the man did exactly what he told him to do. And suddenly, he felt himself seized by a strong hand at the back of his neck. His hand was forced down under the water and held there firmly. This is some kind of a test, said the man to himself. A minute passed and he was growing breathless. The grip on his neck hadn't weakened. Another minute went by, and now you can bet he's getting a little bit anxious. Then his heart starts to beat heavily in his chest, his throat tightens, his lungs screaming for air. He struggled to get up, and the old man's grip became even stronger and pushed him down even further into the water. Now, as you guys can probably imagine, the man, he's in a panic. He's thrashing around wildly, trying with all of his energy to loosen his vice around his neck. And literally seconds passed, and he felt his strength starting to slip away. Thought he was going to die. And just as he was about to give up hope and ruling even cursing himself for ever coming there, the hand on his collar lets go. And violently, he leaps onto the shore. And he draws in, heaving gasps of breath, delicious oxygen. It floods his lungs, and his vision grows clearer. And the hammering in his throat slowed down, and his hands stopped trembling, and he felt deep anger welling up inside himself. And he screams at the guru, "Are you crazy? You could have killed me." And the guru simply stared at him for a long time, and then he spoke for the first time. He says, "You wanted to know the secret of success. Here it is. Do you remember just a few minutes ago how badly you wanted to take that next breath of air? When you want success that badly, you'll have it. That's the secret of success." And without another word, he turned and walked back up the hill. So here's the thing. The graveyard is full of good intentions. And if we want to direct our lives, we have to take control of our consistent actions, because it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but it's what we do consistently. It's what we do consistently. John Maxwell says that you'll never change your life until you change something that you do daily. Never change your life until you change something that you do daily. So I know we're kind of getting short on time here, and we're going to wrap up here in just a couple of minutes. I want to get into just real briefly, we're going to touch on limiting beliefs today. A limiting belief is a mental block that you store in your mind, which limits your ability to achieve the goals that you set for yourself. And that does not mean that by removing, for instance, a block on flying that you will grow wings and fly away. But the limiting belief could be, however, that you're scared of flying, and by removing that block, that you're able to get into a plane to go wherever you want. And a limiting belief is an intangible barrier that stops you from having the success that you want and you deserve. And it may be something you do out of habit without thinking, or it may be a reason you have where you say, I can't be or do or have. I can't have that because. Like many of us, you may have acquired some very unhelpful or unsupportive beliefs over the years, and especially around how deserving or not that you feel you are of money and success, about your health and your weight, or your worthiness to be sexy and attractive and to enjoy, great relationships, or whatever the case might be. And the one thing that you should always remember is that you're not alone. And everybody has limiting beliefs. I have them, Summer has them, we all have them. So everybody has, we're not, no matter how small that they might be, nobody's 100% perfect. And through the power of relaxation, which is good for you, and the aim to hit your targeted goals, and self-talk and motivation, surrounding yourself with the right people, you can start to break through. Now, we're going to go through, I want to just touch on some interesting limiting beliefs. To emphasize that limiting beliefs can be overcome, I want to give you some examples of some limiting beliefs that at one time were stated as fact. I'm talking about fact. These were facts. And through the ability of certain individuals, that belief or that perception was removed. The first one, you guys probably or maybe have heard of the name Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister was the first person to run the 4-minute mile. And many of the leading experts in the field of human physiology at that time believed that that body could not stand the punishment it would take in running a mile in under 4 minutes. It was almost taken for granted that the heart would probably explode under such pressure. But Dr. Roger Bannister disagreed, and he set out to prove everybody wrong. And nowadays, a top middle distance athlete who cannot run a mile under 4 minutes is what? They're considered slow. So this is a great example of the limiting beliefs of others being forced on the majority. Against the odds at the time, Bannister proved them wrong, and that limiting belief was removed. Another great example was the speed of the railways when the steam locomotive was invented. It was believed that the human body could not stand the forces applied if a train went faster than 30 miles per hour. Can you guys believe that? And as train speeds increased and the human body was better understood, that myth was proved to be what? Again, completely false.
What about the world was flat?
The world was flat. There was another one. You know, well-intentioned people we know place limiting beliefs into our subconscious mind. And these limiting beliefs, they're not deliberately put there, but are developed over time and continuous reinforcement. And where do they come from? They come from our childhood, what we repeatedly heard or saw or experienced as a child. You know, often, you know, around subjects of money or food or you know, can still have great effect on us today. We run these patterns unconsciously and have no idea why we seem to have our own sabotage button, which we stamp on with huge force from a great height just as we start to be successful at something. Anybody got one of those? Anybody have any of those before? Have any of those at all? We very often run the same patterns in our own lives as our parents did, and we can find ourselves unconsciously sabotaging ourselves just at the point of success or even pushing money and success away. And this shows up in fear patterns when we get frightened to take action or try something to pursue our dreams. So, you know, I want you guys to think about what fears that you have, right? Fear of failure, fear of people laughing at you, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being loved, fear of losing our friends if we become more successful than them. How about fear of rejection, fear of what they will say about us? And some of the real biggies are fear of success, fear of being who we really are in case others do not like or accept us, or fear of our own greatness and power. So, you know, let's just talk about the 10 limiting beliefs and then we'll start to wrap up here. So for many people, probably fear of greatness is the biggest one, though it's often the least discussed. What if I was really great at my own business, my job? What if I was really great as a spouse or a partner or as a parent or a public speaker? What would other people say? What would my friends say if I suddenly outshined them or my income took off or I bought my dream home or my dream car? For most people, this is one of the most uncomfortable thoughts that they can consider, believe it or not. And as a result, it holds people back almost more than anything else. Our deepest fear, I love what Marianne Williamson says in the book. If you haven't read it yet, Return to Love. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us the most. She also says that your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking. So that other people will feel insecure around you. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we're liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I love that. What about fear of not being good enough? Anybody ever have that fear before? If you have a dream or a desire to be or have or to do something, then you already have everything you need within you to achieve that dream. You already have all the skills and talents and abilities that you need. You cannot be given the dream and then not have the resources to achieve that dream. So many people hold themselves back by feeling that they need to read one more book, they need to take one more course, they need to take one more seminar. Think about it. I mean, this is one of the things in network marketing I dealt with the most. You know, as I was starting, people would get ready. They felt like they weren't good enough to go out and lead their own team, to host their own group, to host their own meeting, to start doing things on their own. They started looking outside for leadership rather than looking for within. You are good enough. You have everything that you need inside of you now to dream. You wouldn't be given that dream if you didn't have the resources to accomplish that dream.
Well, except for the people on American Idol.
Summer says, except for the people on American Idol.
There is some limitation.
There are some limitations.
There are some limitations. Be realistic, but yes, with your business, you can accomplish any goal.
What about fear of not being loved? This is quite closely linked to the previous belief. Often people fear that if they are their true selves, people won't like them. They won't love them, and they'll lose their friends, and they'll end up alienated or alone. And maybe many people go through life trying to be who they think other people, like family or friends or employers or partners, want them to be in order to win love and acceptance from those people. And the most important person, however, is ourself. It's so much more important to love and accept ourselves exactly as we are, because once we can do that, we attract to us people who also love and accept themselves, and they can then love and accept us exactly as we are. The universe and our Creator loves us exactly as we are. Children and animals do as well. We don't have to pretend to be something we are not to love ourselves and to be loved by others. How about fear of rejection? This comes in different forms, right? From not asking for the date with the person that you really want to be with, or to being afraid to make that all-important call, or being afraid to ask for the raise that you deserve, or ask for the sale, ask for the order, just in case somebody says no. Well, what if they do? What's the worst thing that could happen? Probably nothing much, right? They might say yes, and in most cases, people are not rejecting you as a person. They are most likely simply not accepting what you're offering to them. Success is a matter of asking. And keep asking until you find the right person who can help you achieve your dreams. And if somebody says no to you, it's a signal to either change your strategy or ask somebody else. You guys, 80%, I can almost maybe even say 85% of our income came from 4 people that we sponsored. And here's the interesting thing. We've sponsored close to 1,000 people in our lifetime. But more importantly, it wasn't necessarily even the people that we sponsored. It was the people that they introduced us to. But because we sponsored them, they introduced us to other people. And those other people went out and built massive businesses. 4 people. You don't need a lot. You're just looking for a few. Look at a child who wants an ice cream in a shop. What do? First they ask their mom, then they ask their dad, then they ask grandma or granddad, and if that doesn't work, what do? What does your children do when they want something? They change tactics. And do they eventually get that ice cream? In many cases.
It's your Sienna Flaherty you do.
And when they don't ask, they ask for sweets in the next shop, or cake in the next, and a toy in the next, just for good measure. So let me give you a tip. Ask with the biggest smile that you can and start nodding your head. It's amazing how often people will follow you and agree to your request just by doing that. What about fear of success? This is a couple more and we'll wrap up here. This is closely linked to most of the above, especially number 1. People often fear the positive changes, maybe extra, and here's why, because of the extra responsibility that great wealth and success brings. So people, when you hear fear of success, people are like, well, I'm not afraid of success. I want it. No, it may not be that exact success, but it's the fear of what comes with that success. Because with success comes responsibility. With leadership comes greater responsibility. People often fear those positive changes. They get caught up in all the old negative programming about rich people being mean or selfish or arrogant or not spiritual, and that money can be acquired by foul means and money doesn't bring you happiness. Well, neither does being broke or being poor. Success and abundance, you guys, is our birthright. And we're not meant to live in poverty or stress. And once we hook up to our source of abundance, we know that money is like air. There's always more than enough for everybody, and it flows as freely as air. And the more abundance that you have, and the more you can freely give to others and help them to improve their lives, it comes back. Abundance is very spiritual. Money builds homes at school. Money builds schools. Money builds hospitals and many other great things. It's not a bad thing. What about the whole I don't deserve or I'm not worthy of success? Maybe that relates to you. Who decides who's worthy? It's my question. Or deserving of success or not. It's not the universe or our creator, because they want us to have all the abundance that we can handle. Our natural state is joy and abundance. So what are the criteria for somebody to be considered worthy or deserving of success? Is it family backgrounds? Is it education? Is it age? Sex? Religion? What is it? You can choose for yourself that you are worthy. You guys hear me? You can choose for yourself that you're worthy of success and abundance. You can claim your birthright now. How about this one? Rich people are. Oh, they're mean, they're selfish, they're arrogant, they're unspiritual crooks who've made their money by cheating others. If you hold those beliefs, then it's likely to be very difficult for you to allow yourself to have great wealth. If that is how you see rich people, then it is unlikely that you'll really want to become one. I mean, think about it. Today, there are more and more enlightened millionaires than ever before. These people have made their money by doing what? Serving others and helping them grow in every sense of the word. They know and understand that more abundance they allow to flow to themselves, the more they can help others, and the quicker and easier poverty is eliminated. How about this one? I have layers of deep-rooted beliefs that hold me back. A belief is a thought. And you get to choose your thoughts. That's the beautiful thing. In any instant, you can choose an empowering belief or a disempowering one. So why choose to hold on to those old beliefs and keep bringing them back up? It's time to let go. It's time to let them go, guys. It's a new year. It's time to let go of the baggage that you've been carrying around. How about this one? Well, and this one's programmed in a lot of minds. I have to work long and hard for that money. Why? That's often a pattern that many of us saw from our parents. Yet for many people, working longer and harder does not actually produce more money or even a better quality of life. Most millionaires only work long hours if they choose to, and many of them do not work particularly hard. Wealthy people create money through creative ideas. And if you follow your heart and your passions, money will follow, and your means of earning money will seem like play. So, and I'll give you one more. You don't need to be able to make money, and I don't have any. You don't need to be able to make. You don't need money to be able to make money, and I don't have any. A lot of people think that, right? See, I'm saying that wrong. You need money to be able to make money. How many times I've heard that? I've got to have money to make money. Many great fortunes have been built from nothing. Sometimes less than nothing. Creativity and ideas are the starting point of riches.
J.C. Penney was born out of the Depression. J.C. Penney's, anybody shop J.C. Penney's? That's an awesome, awesome story. If you ever want to read an inspiring story, it was the Depression. J.C. Penney's came from that.
There are plenty of people out there who have more money than time and who will back good ideas. Summer and I have a friend who's a Facebook friend of ours who started that little Simply Fit board. She created that Simply Fit board that you guys have seen probably all over the infomercials in 2016. Lori Greiner from the Shark Tank bought it. It went on Shark Tank. Lori Greiner decided to invest in the company, and she has now earned millions of dollars from the Simply Fit board. Everybody has it, or it's $20. You can buy it. She created it, and she went around for a couple of years. Summer and I watched her. She went around, sold this thing at little trade shows and things, and went on Shark Tank, and now she's a millionaire. So money is an energy, and creating money begins by creating wealth in your mind and by living and experiencing great wealth. So, I think that we're going to stop there today. And I think that what we will do is we will do maybe a follow-up to this event where we will get into generational beliefs and notice what you are noticing. And we'll go through the process of where these beliefs come from. We'll go through a questionnaire and ultimately where you picked up some of these beliefs and these ideas. And we'll kind of maybe go into a little bit more specifically how you overcome fears and some of the strategies. One of the things I will tell you about fear, if fear is something that's holding you back, is you can empower the most powerful force on earth is the key to overcoming fear, and that is faith. There is no more powerful force on earth than faith. And when you empower it in your life, it will absolutely help you to overcome a lot of the fears that you have.
Fear and faith cannot exist in the same space. Fear and faith cannot exist in the same space. It's impossible. Because if you have faith, you can't be fearful. And if you are fearful, you do not have faith. And, what you feed will grow. So choose to feed your faith and let that grow. And it will eradicate the fear.
Yep. So with that, I'm going to open it up for any Q&As here, any questions that we have. I want to say thank you to everybody tuning in today, and I hope that this process has helped bring a little bit more clarity, purpose, vision into your life, and some strategies and thoughts when it comes to limiting beliefs, and just helped you to be a little bit more clear on where you want to go, actually a lot more clear on where you want to go in 2017. So I'm going to open it up for any thoughts, comments, or feedback before we wrap up. Anybody want to share something that they got out of the course today or value today? I know it's a process to figure out on mute. Hello?
Oh, have fun packing for Cabo. Gosh, I wish that's where I was
going to Cabo. Have fun packing for Cabo, Suzanne.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. That'll be nice.
Well, we don't necessarily need any comments. If there's no questions, then we can wrap up today. If you feel like you got some value out of today, drop by our Facebook wall and let us know what you thought of today's event, or even in Entrepreneur Life, share maybe one of the things that stood out to you the most today. We would appreciate that. Any final thoughts or comments before we wrap up today? Awesome.
Thank you so much, you guys. And I have a better idea on how to setting a goal and measure myself and things, and appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Victoria. We appreciate you. And thank you so much, Randy, Connie. Thanks for tuning in. And I know everyone else, I think, has already dropped off here. So you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll look forward to doing this again soon.
Go eat. I'm hungry.
Time to go eat. You guys take care.
Bye.
Look what awesome markers I need, Dad. Look.